himself a crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair at everlevelconcrete.com.
I was just,
We good?
yeah, we're good. No, I don't know why you're not sitting there.
So I packed up as if Connor Happer was going to be here today.
He didn't know.
I didn't know that Hap wasn't going to be here, so I've just kind of packed and I moved into my regular spot. I definitely could. I'm going to go and switch over there right now.
You don't have to.
No, I don't really like bending over like this.
Yeah,
and
it's wildly uncomfortable. I can't imagine a company that would make somebody, let alone a star talent of their morning show, bend over to use a microphone.
Well, it's because you know how handsy I am, and that thing needs to be adjusted at all points. And I know that if I continue to touch it, I'm going to break it, and I don't want to be the guy that broke things.
Well, I mean, maybe if we break it,
will get fixed.
It'll get fixed.
Well, what happened one time is Gary walks in and goes, "We need a new box." And I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to take a couple of months till I get that. Like, this is, what I've been told. And then literally the next day, a new box was there.
Wow. Yeah, but the headphone jack box had been bad for a while.
But I'm just saying, you got the power.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, maybe in a couple of months. All right. Hey, so I'm going to propose something on why the NBA ratings are down.
Okay.
People really want to talk about the NBA.
I'd like
but
to.
This
I have a theory on this.
Has nothing to do with the sport.
Okay.
I think it's ESPN. So,
you mean when all their talent are constantly bashing the game of basketball?
No.
Okay.
There's another subtle thing that I've shared this with another friend, and he goes, "You might be onto something." So ESPN in the last 2 months have put a clamp down on password sharing.
Oh.
So you can never stay logged in on your phone, and then if you pay for cable, so you get the online access. You still have to put in your password, and then it still glitches, and then it will log you off.
Okay, I have this problem.
So this is I floated this theory to somebody that is my sounding board, and they're like, add that to the list of things that may be wrong. But ESPN apparently, like Netflix, so that's a serious thing with Netflix.
Oh yeah,
is they've cracked down on password sharing, but I guess ESPN Plus, for the first time, maybe ever in the last 2 months, has cracked down on password sharing.
So I have had ESPN Plus since the dawn. Like the month it came out, I was a first-time subscriber. And a lot of people have that password and use that account, okay? We're not just talking like family. We're talking friends, too. I have friends that use the ESPN Plus account. And currently on my TV, I like to, in the midday, when there's not a ton of stuff going on one TV, I'll just have live ESPN, whatever show it might be, right? And then on the other TV, I'll just put on the ESPN app and I'll play a 30 for 30 or something that I missed. Or maybe if part of the interruption, I didn't watch it, I'll replay that part. I, for the last week, have not been able to sign in to my TV provider. It goes, I click on something that I want to watch. It goes, sign into your TV provider. I go to YouTube TV. I put in my login. I put in my information, and then it sends me back to that same page every single time. And it's been really bad because during the Women's College World Series, I wanted to have something live, and then I wanted to have something on that TV, and I couldn't do that. So maybe that's the case. Maybe I have to tell people they can't have my ESPN Plus anymore.
Got to tighten your inner circle.
I had to tighten my inner circle for my YouTube TV. I was trying to watch the College Football National Championship, and it had too many screen errors. And so I wiped everybody out the night of the College Football National Championship. And they freaked out. They go, why are you canceling? I go, first off, is it yours? They're like,
so
they go, no. And I go, look, I gave it back to them. I go, one night only. For the CFP national title, I'll just have it on one TV. You get to watch it. But after tonight, I'm wiping you out. So I've been wiped.
So I do still subscribe to cable.
Yeah.
You guys are all going to come back to me, but that's okay.
No,
but then in the office, in my home office, I have YouTube TV that I am using somebody else's account. So if that's your main account, can you tell, because I've gotten that screen before, there's too many people streaming. Can you see who is streaming?
So Here's what you do. You have to go to your.
Now I can't because I'm not the owner of that account.
You
so
have
I'm
to
just
go
asking.
to the interface, and you have to like click on settings, account settings, whatever,
Mhm.
and then you go ahead and you have to sign in again to like check, like to verify, and then you go ahead and you check, and you can see what TVs throughout the country have access to your YouTube TV, what IP addresses have access to your YouTube TV. So I went through that, and I saw, oh, there are like 3 TVs in Lincoln. There are 2 TVs in Chicago. There was a TV in Omaha from, I think I just went to a buddy's house and I just put it on there. And so they all had access to that. And you can just go ahead in there and you can wipe it out. You can say remove access or like forget this device. And so that's how you remove people. So your buddy that you mooch off of on the YouTube TV, or that you use as YouTube TV.
You know what? This is what life is.
I'm sure Gary gives him things.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Everybody has to have a mooch in their life.
Sure, I agree.
That's why I always grab an extra stick of gum. Like somebody gives you, hey, do you want a piece of gum? I'd say, no, hey, can I have 2? Because I'm going to meet a mooch along the way. And so that person's going to say, hey, you got any gum? And so I'll have a gum for him. I don't smoke, so I can't mooch cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's asking me. No, you know, we're past the point of people look at me and they go, he's not a smoker, so I'm not going to ask if you have a cigarette or a light. But everybody meets a mooch along the way. That's why I was asked for 2 pieces of gum. So mooching is the American way. The streaming service where I don't think they give a damn if you share your password or not is Peacock.
Oh, they want as many people as possible on that app.
I have a password.
If you could tell everyone.
I have a password to Peacock, and I bet I have 20 people in my coaching tree of Peacock people I've handed my password off to.
You have 20 people in your Peacock coaching tree?
Well, because Big Ten is now, Big East and Big Ten are now on Peacock.
You're a good man.
And so people have like, hey, I know you have Peacock. And I'm like, here you go.
Well, that's what the model is. The model is that you allowed password sharing to people.
Hello,
and you
Netflix.
allowed as many people as possible to use your product. And then when you get to the point where as you have so many users using your product, you then go, okay, you have to now pay for it. And then you hope that there's enough people who need to have your product so badly because they fall in love with something that they're willing to pay for it.
That's called the first taste is free model.
Oh, there you go.
Are you know that? Are you the proud owner of your own Netflix account?
Yeah. I'm an adult.
You see that he said that with like I feel good.
Yeah.
I bought my first Netflix account.
Look at you.
I'm an adult.
What tier?
The lowest possible. I'm watching the ads and I get my recommendations are terrible and they're always pushing what they want to push and not what I want to watch. But Daddy's got to watch Monday Night Raw. I gotta see
that's
it.
Right.
I gotta see. Like that's what literally Monday Night Raw was not on Netflix. I'd have no use for it. It's nice. I have The Last Dance that I get to rewatch. Those are like the only 2 uses: Monday Night Raw and The Last Dance.
My latest, and this also is a cultural thing. I have to look this up because I think it is on.
What was I going to say though about the before I called you a mooch? Oh, you never want to see me on a nice golf course. Like we should never go golfing at a nice place because I take all of those free tees and I put them in my bag, and those are tees for a year. That's the thing. You know you're at a nice golf course when they just are
giving you tees.
I went to.
There's like a bucket of them, like condoms at the library.
I literally. There are condoms at the library?
Yeah.
No,
Still?
there's not. There's condoms at the
Yeah,
library.
there's just a big bowl of them.
Where?
Time out.
Whoa.
Time out. First of all, it's HBO. Surviving Ohio State.
Oh,
I have heard is
very good.
So I'm not going to be. We have a problem in this country where friends recommending a show for somebody to watch. We need to be better because we just willy-nilly throw out shows and they're garbage, and then that's really hurt your friendship. So Surviving Ohio State on HBO about the wrestling scandal.
Oh, okay.
I've heard is excellent.
I'll watch that. I've given you one recommendation ever, and you still haven't done it. So
I'm getting to it now. We're almost past the College World Series. I'm going to watch Accountant 1 and Accountant 2.
I got to watch the second one.
No, you don't. Okay.
No?
I haven't watched it, but I've seen the trailers and everything. It's not what the Accountant 1 was. Accountant 1
I don't care.
I'm boycotting Accountant 2.
I'll watch the explosions and the guns go off and be entertained.
They've turned a beautiful story into a buddy cop movie.
I don't need math.
It wasn't about math. It was about
This
being
appears
on
to
the
be a
spectrum.
hill you're going to die on. You
Yes.
are very passionate about this movie.
Because Accountant One was a beautiful tale that was able to combine espionage and the difficulties of having some autism and just having and going through the challenges
Now
that
that you're correct about.
those people have to go through. And it was a beautiful combination of, hey, this is an action movie, but it tells a much deeper story of what people who have, autism have to go through. And I think it shined a great light on it while also bringing some great action and entertainment. And I would have loved for Accountant 2 to not be a buddy-buddy movie, but continue on that theme and to continue to bring some awareness to, what the difficulties may be of that and what people have to deal with. And I thought that was beautiful in Accountant 1, and now they've just turned it into Bad Boys.
White people did need a Bad Boys, though.
No, they didn't. Poll question. Did white people need a Bad Boys? That's a great one. I don't think they did. I feel like there were plenty of movies with white people as the action stars. Is Mission Impossible not the white bad boys? I mean, it's just Tom Cruise and his buddies just going around doing stuff and solving crimes.
I'm going to put that up, too.
I mean, pretty damn near close. But yes, you were back on the... Sorry, we took a detour there.
I've completely forgotten.
We were talking about...
You were shocked by condoms at the library.
Okay,
Yes,
back to that.
there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
And
We're
it has
crossover.
And by the way, don't tie it into surviving Ohio State. Wait a minute. There's just a bowl like where you go to check out your book.
Yeah.
Like where like little kids go to check out a book. There's a bowl of condoms right on like the counter.
That's right. Like a dorm room.
I mean, I could make a funny joke, but the truth is that they would just go from that bowl into my cabinet and won't be used for an extended period of time. So, I mean, it would just be transplanting to a different home.
Hold that thought. In a public library.
Yeah.
Just readily available.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Learn something new every day. I haven't been searching for them at a library.
I mean, I'm not searching for them, but I
They're
notice.
Hey,
it's a service
maybe I
they
got to go to
provide.
libraries more
Do you
often.
guys have the Sunday Lincoln Journal Star? And do you have a
Gonna.
Magnum?
No. Can you imagine your buddy goes to the library, he runs home, he goes, dude, they got the Trojan Thins there.
How have people not protested this?
What do you mean? They're doing a service.
The people who use the library may not have the funds to buy.
Yeah. What do you mean?
We just had a discussion. He asked me about going to the library, and the couple times I went to the Dale Clark Library,
Somebody
and got asked.
peed in front of you.
Somebody peed in front of me, and then they had their back to me, so I didn't see Johnson and Johnson hanging out. Or walking up the stairs, somebody goes, "You got any cocaine?" No. Do I look like I got cocaine?
Yes.
Do you, the taxpayer, want to pay for their children or for their condoms?
There's other places you can go to get free condoms, right?
No,
I don't
condoms are kind of
know.
expensive
There's
now,
a vending machine.
Well, it was great.
I think they had them
actually.
in the vending machine when they used to exist at the bottom of the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge.
You would have what we called Free S Sunday over in Lincoln, where it's like you would go to all of the clubs and they would try and get you to join clubs and whatnot. And so you would just go from table to table and you would get a lot of free stuff, right? And it was hats, glasses, coupons, whatever. And there was always this one desk that was just giving out condoms, and that it just, if you you were good for the year. You would go there, they would give you all, they'd be like, here, just grab. People would go up, they'd all grab them, they were done.
And you'd put them in your wallet, and then you would get the circular thing that would be burned into the side of your wallet.
I would know that. I never put them in my wallet. I put them in my back pocket, and then one time at a party, it fell out, and that was really awkward. And I had to very nonchalantly pick it back up. But I did not know that there were condoms at the library. Maybe I should go and check out a book.
Pro tip, yeah.
Pro tip.
How did you stumble upon them?
I am a frequent user of the
Condoms?
library.
Oh, okay.
No. And I see them there. And I go, good idea. Wouldn't have thought of that.
You're frequent.
Yeah, with his son, who will your son be there tomorrow so I can witness this beatdown?
No, too hot. We're caging him up inside.
Well, Josh's wife tweeted at me yesterday.
She did.
I don't know if you saw that, but she said that she now realizes that she and Josh have adopted me as a son, which I'm very happy about. You guys give great advice and you help me out and you calm me down when I get a little heated. which did happen a couple of times.
Well, it's going to be hot this weekend.
I know.
We have made it, everybody in Twitter world.
Oh,
Because the Twitter account of Karen McGee, Karen Mother of Two, which started the whole Russian scandal in the
Not a
wintertime.
scandal. It was fun. It was great.
Great follow on Twitter. Trey Taylor tweeted out, "Oh, yay, great day to become part of the Husker football family," which Luke Sorensen will today. She tweets at Trey Taylor, "Please not baby Gronk. Please not baby Gronk." Trey Taylor responds, "I don't think he is offered yet. LOL."
I love how wholesome Trey Taylor is. Trey Taylor just seems like a real wholesome, nice guy who wants to win football games. He's a little, do you know what he gives off a bit? He gives me a little like Tebow. Like very, couldn't hurt a fly. Very nice, loves football. Just wants guys to be on his wagon, wants to win with his dudes. In this day and age where the head coach of Nebraska is giving out chains for a prize for people winning a tournament hosted at his football field, we need more Trey Taylors.
He responds to nearly everybody on Twitter.
Have you tweeted at him?
No, I don't tweet at recruits.
I haven't. I haven't either. I don't know.
Unless I know them and I want to congratulate them, I DM them. But I do not tweet at recruits. I also don't think I follow many.
I don't.
I don't follow many 16, 17-year-old kids.
No.
good strategy.
I just, you know what?
That gets a lot of people in trouble nowadays. You'd be shocked.
All right. What do we got on the show tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
We'll talk to I believe the CEO of Chinook Seedery.
Nice.
As they're the corporate sponsor for the Golden Spikes Award, which will be handed out tomorrow.
Incredible seeds, by the way.
The trophy is at their booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village. And
are they going to bring it over? Are they going to bring it over?
I don't know. Looks heavy. I wouldn't bring it over.
I think it's going to be Aloy from Arkansas.
That's what they're telling me.
Will he
be
still in Omaha?
Oh,
boy. That is so tough.
Guys, the first question would not be, what does this mean to win an honor like this?
Yeah. Would he have to do a presser after winning that time, like grabbing that award?
Would think so.
He will. I mean, that's the prestigious award. You know, it's the Heisman Trophy of college baseball.
That's a good bet. Will the first question be about? But they won't ask him, hey, what the hell happened? They'll be like,
you met media from the South? They'll be like, we need to know.
I think they might word it as, hey, this is a great award, but how does it feel, accepting this? But, also, is this a little bit of a solace, having this award after what happened the other night? Then he'll be like, no, I'm still pissed. And I can't believe I did that. And it sucks. And I love my guys. And this is a great award. Thank you so much. Or he'll just go, I'm only talking about winning the Golden Spikes Award.
I think the NCAA did him wrong.
Not letting him go up there right after.
No, he was requested, and he was one of the 3 players, but clearly he was not going to be there. Well, then either find somebody to take his spot or take his nameplate down and have the 2 players slide over because it was a bad look to have an open spot next to Dave Van Horn, and the nameplate is there. So,
so everybody knows what happened. Everybody
knows
together.
that he decided not to show up.
But you know what? Either hey, Arkansas tells the NCAA reps he's in no frame to speak. All right, then this is the next person, the next most popular person that was requested. Or just take the nameplate down, slide 2 guys over, and so it's not as big of a distraction. Because you had 2 guys at the end who handled it really well and a head coach who handled it really well. Unfortunately, the guy who had one of the biggest hands in what happened in the meltdown at the bottom of the ninth is not sitting there, but his nameplate is. So everybody's like, oh, he's bailing on you guys. He didn't want to talk, huh? So then other players on Arkansas's roster have to be asked about it when the clubhouse is open. Hey, why didn't Aloy show up when he was requested?
There's another thing too, because like I said yesterday, and I still stand by it with the whole, I don't necessarily blame him for not wanting in the heat of the moment to go up there and talk and I know when you said
wanted him to
yesterday,
be Rory?
And I know what you said yesterday, and I agree with you. It's also not a good look to just go up there and leave your two, teammates hanging behind. I do think for his sake, though, that I don't think he can avoid it anymore. He just needs to go up and talk about it because he's got an MLB draft process that isn't, if it's not already underway, it's about to be underway.
He already missed the combine.
Oh yeah, that did happen. Well, he was playing. He had his own.
Yeah, I think he's got about 60 plus games playing for an SEC school that were his combine.
Is that something? Because you've been in that area of sports. Like, do you think that affects his draft stock at all? From people who were, he was mocked to go to the Cubs in ESPN's latest.
Oh, what do you guys think?
I'm a fan of his. I
Okay.
think he's pretty damn good.
The
SEC Player of the Year. Hell yeah, he's a shortstop too. I mean, as many gloves as we could get.
I worry about the ballpark that he played in.
Baumwalker.
In college. I'm not buying into the narrative of you guys, Creighton guys, that are telling me about baby ballpark.
Tiny baby ballpark.
But he played a majority of games there, put up big numbers. Now you're all of a sudden in a little bit bigger parks with wood bat. That'd be my only little minor hesitation. Sure. He'll work himself into being a good pro. So I don't think that hurts him at all.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't guess it would, but which is why I ask you.
I would unless there's a character issue. I would worry about a franchise that based their evaluation on a player on one game. If you've not done your homework and you've seen plenty of, you've had scouts through there and you've done all your homework and put your things together. If it's one game that changes your opinion, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah, and you're right.
The only thing that would change it is if there's a character issue.
Which, you definitely could make the argument of like maybe that is an identifier, but all it takes is Dave Van Horn being like, no, you're an idiot. He's a great teammate. We absolutely love him. And then that's that. So, but it'll be interesting if he ends up winning that award, what happens there and what that whole entire discourse.
So will they announce it on the show tomorrow or will it have already been announced?
That's a good question.
Let's do it on the show.
Yeah.
Can we pull that?
Why not?
That'd be incredible. That'd be a great get to announce that award. And then all of a sudden they'd be announcing that award and they're like, the Golden Spikes Award goes to, and Gary goes, hey, hi, how are you? Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, you can't take that bat. We're not giving it away. All right, continue.
No, I think there were kids who were coming up being like, how much for the bat? And like after the 10th time, I kind of wanted to be like, it's $400.
Now he expertly walked over to the booth and asked, hey, a bunch of kids are asking me what this costs.
I did, because I was so sick and tired of people being like, how much is it? I'm like, we don't sell them. And then being looked at as like, you're rude. So I went over to the Tucci guy. I go, yo, how much is it?
Hey, it's a quality bat, but there was a time where I spent $25 at Kmart to get a wood bat to play Little League Baseball on the weekend. What could I get for $25 now if I wanted to go buy a bat?
Zero.
Whoa.
You couldn't get a thing. And if I'm being honest with you, if you had $25 at the Omaha Baseball Village and you weren't 21, I don't know what you could get other than like $5.
You get a sticker of a bat?
Yeah. But if you had $25 at this if you were trying to get youth baseball things and you only had $25, I don't think you could buy one thing. I think maybe a headband if they were selling those.
Have you guys seen
look good in a headband?
Do they have the sliding mitts for sale?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do. $40, and one of them was like a ice cream cone, and that I saw, and I put it on. I didn't realize how like hard it is.
Yeah.
I thought it looked a little bit softer. Why do you need a sliding mitt in travel baseball?
Oh, because your guy, another
look
kid
cool.
on the other team, a kid on your team has one.
Then use his. That's what we did.
No.
That's what we did.
Even college guys don't share their sliding mitts.
We had
Every player has his own sliding mitt.
We had a bucket of balls and 6 bats. And you just walked up and you go, I got a hit with this bat last time. And you picked up that bat and you walked to the batter's box. And then you got hit by a pitch. And then you went over to first, then the next pitch and went by the catcher. So then you jaunted on over to second. That's what travel baseball was.
That was what Little League Baseball is.
Yeah.
Travel baseball, everybody has their own bat bag. They have their own helmet. They have their own bat. They have their own sliding mitt.
They have their own necklaces and chains and grills.
Little League Baseball, we share bats. You don't need to have somebody run up there and grab your bat. You just leave it at home plate because the next guy up is going to use that bat.
I was a Boston
and
Red Sox.
You were upset because that guy ahead of you in the lineup was using that bat, so you weren't able to warm up with it.
So you use the bigger bat as like your donut because you don't actually have a donut there to like actually weigh it out. I played for the Boston Red Sox, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Chicago Cubs growing up.
And you ended up in radio?
Well, Little League.
Oh. You used the first name of the city?
Oh, we were the Orioles
Yeah.
and the Cubs
Okay.
and the Red Sox.
They
But
got you a real major league teams, not like the whatever random nickname
Yeah.
that you use in an under 8 baseball.
Were you a little league journeyman?
Yeah, I was traded from
Yeah?
year to year.
Wow.
I was
I
was the Rich Hill of Little League baseball.
Now you got something to talk to Rich about.
You didn't have a dad that coached his own team, so he put a superstar team together?
No, he coached my brother's team, and
Whoa.
so my brother could bat leadoff.
Is that the
But
brother that knows nothing about sports?
Yeah, but he was a damn good baseball player. Chris was fast, and so was Pistons.
How do you play baseball and you don't know anything about sports?
Because Chris is a good athlete, and he's wasted at playing.
So your
League of
dad
Legends.
forced him into playing baseball.
Chris was a better.
Does your dad and your brother talk these days?
Oh yeah, they're very close.
Was your brother scorned because of the pressure that your dad put on him to be in sports? Because your dad could never achieve that, so he wanted to live vicariously through his son. So he forced him into a sport that his son knew nothing about and didn't want to be there, but was a good athlete. And so he made him play, and it broke him down mentally and physically to the point that you guys had to get help for him. Is that true?
Chris has a way with my parents where he just goes, I don't want to do that anymore. And they go, okay. And then he just stopped doing it. So what you just described, that was me, my man. Okay. But my dad and I are best friends.
Seems like your dad's a above board guy.
Well, I like the sports.
Have you
doing
ever
it.
met him? Have you ever introduced him to Marv Marinovich?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
By the way, if that was his strategy, he did a terrible job because I never played college sports or anything like that. I mean, if my dad tried being LeVar Ball, he did a really, really crappy job. The farthest I got was IHSA high school hockey. And my sister became a dancer in high school, a Palms dancer.
Well, I mean, your dad has said he's very disappointed in his kids, but loves his wife.
Wow.
Have you talked to my father recently?
Saw it on the Facebook.
He doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't even know how to use Outlook. My dad.
We're not painting a very good picture of your father this morning.
You.
No, you just joined in. I knew nothing about the Outlook problem.
My dad works for a place where Outlook is very much essential, and I have to like babysit him and do it. But I get a nice little bonus at the end of the year. So it's called nice Christmas gifts. Is what it's called.
Okay.
Because you helped your dad with Outlook?
What
else is your dad? I might be able to help out with something.
My dad works in a job where he needs to know how to do spreadsheets, and he's terrible with spreadsheets. Awful. He can tell everybody, like he knows exactly what to do and how to solve the problem. He just can't bring the mouse to the thing. IT guys love him.
Keeping them
because
in
it keeps him
business.
business, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a great guy to have for a father on Father's Day.
He's getting a nice gift.
All right. Josh,
Gary,
have a good show. I know we were just over here chatting. You are preparing for your show.
That's okay.
All right.
I'm
looking forward to us three tomorrow at Omaha Baseball
So it's
Village.
beach day. We're all wearing beach clothing. We're all wearing. He said it's beach day.
I don't.
Right. You're gonna be.
Yep.
Swimsuit, right?
Hey.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna go board shorts.
Okay.
Board shorts, Hawaiian shirt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'll wear.
If that's
Right?
the standard is the standard.
The standard
and I
is
will
the standard.
comply.
Yeah. And we're trying to set a culture. And our culture is that we're on the same memo and we're going to wear some similar things.
All right.
So that's what I'll be wearing.
Sunglasses, you probably wear a sun hat and put a little
sunscreen. Yeah.
sunscreen
no,
on the
absolutely.
nose.
I mean, the UVs are going to be really high. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Board shorts,
Hawaiian shirt,
flip flops. Okay.
straw hat,
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Can't wait to see your
sunscreen.
look, right?
Yeah.
You got that all already?
Huh?
You got it all down?
I've got it. I know
I
what
know
I'm
what
going
I'm
to
wearing.
get. I actually got it at the house.
He wore it last year to the show he hosted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even have to go to Kohl's.
I do have to.
It's usually where I go to get my swim trunks.
Sure.
Oh, I got to get a straw hat. I don't have a straw hat. So,
Should be able to. You'll be able to find one. They usually sell it by the side of the road in Omaha.
well, I'll just go ahead and cash out my TJ McConnell bet, and then I'll use that money to, Well, I do have to bet on Pocono this week for NASCAR.
Have to.
Have to.
Have to. Because God, if I miss that race in the Poconos, God, I don't know if
They're back at Pocono.
I don't know
Pocono's
if-
an awesome
you
track.
know what? If I don't make that race at Pocono with my bet, I don't know if I'll be able to understand what I'm going to do for the street race in Chicago.
Mhm.
Going to that. Or no, lie. Going to the qualifying. and then going to the party after.
It's moving to San Diego.
Yeah. Is it actually they
It's
announced
going to
that?
move to San Diego.
Good,
Whoa.
because Grant Park does not need to be used in that way. It was a cool little event to have. They don't need to do it over there. It's a mess trying to drive over there during that time.
Maybe we got to get a street race in downtown Omaha.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not an IndyCar race?
Yeah, how about we have the street car versus the NASCARs?
No.
You know what? Maybe we should do a street race here because like every street race has its own challenge, and I would love to see these NASCARs go over potholes.
Yeah, I've heard the dynamics of that. I don't think we want that because they would go airborne.
It'd be great because then they would actually pave over the potholes. They're like, we have to do it now.
Talk to the mayor. Talk to Mayor John. All right, Josh, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully
Looking
you will
for-
talk to the mayor on Sunday.
Thank you.
He'll be there?
He's supposed to be.
Well, allegedly.
Nice.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. I have a bunch of segments set up for the mayor.
What?
A bunch of segments.
Yes.
You got him for one segment.
Yeah, we got a bunch of things. We
Okay.
got a bunch of benchmarks we got to hit.
What will be your first question to
Yeah.
Mayor Ewing?
Smash or pass, and then we're gonna. That's been the ongoing joke. I want to play smash or pass with the new mayor.
What an interesting goal.
Okay.
It'd be fun. It'd make it more personable. He'd be able to relate with the constituents of who he serves now.
Of if he immediately answers a smash or pass.
And well, we're gonna have a couple. That's one segment.
Are you going to petition a recall if you don't like his answers to
Yeah.
smash or pass?
Like,
Well, I'm
you
just gonna-
have to give a name. You can't just say, Mayor Ewing, smash or pass.
No, I have names. I have names I
Like?
can give him. Anne Hathaway.
Okay, I'm just gonna, knowing Mayor Ewing a little bit, maybe Anne Hathaway's not the first one to start with.
Okay.
Is there? Does he know who
Yeah.
she is? Are they like friends or something?
Who would you recommend?
Yeah. Who would you go with, Gary?
No, I'll let you guys.
First name. First name. Who would you go with? Yeah, not so easy, is it?
Yeah, it is easy. Hallie. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow at 3.
All right, boyos.
All right.
Halliburton?
Halliburton?
No. Stop.
Smash or pass?
Stop.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's the crossover.
Maybe you ought to hold. Why don't you hold the mayor till Tuesday? The Tuesday show, different personnel will be sitting there.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't wait.
The crossover is brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha and everlowconcrete.com. Josh Odson next.
That's Gary. That's Matt. Thank you, boys.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
An extreme heat warnings in effect area-wide beginning at noon today until 7 p.m. Sunday. High today in Omaha of 101 degrees, feeling closer to 110. Plenty of sunshine, breezy winds out of the south up to 35 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear, very warm and windy with a low of 81. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Treasure this summer at Funplex, Nebraska's largest water park and rides. Rush down a towering drop slide, race for first place in a go-kart, or maybe float your cares away on the lazy river. Hungry? We've got treats, eats, and even private cabanas to kick back and chill. And don't miss the all-new Shipwreck Chutes, dual slides with twisty turns and our biggest splash yet. Bring the whole crew and treasure this summer at Funplex. Get tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Certified Transmission's built its reputation on the job done right.
It means hard work, honesty, and integrity.
And together, we ensure our customers leave satisfied and worry-free.
Certified Transmission, the job done right at the right price.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when...
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday. This is the Connor Happer Show without Connor Happer. He's at a car wash today. No, the line is not so long at the car wash that he can't go to the show. A car wash is a industry media term for many, many interviews back to back to back to back to back. And that is what LSU and Coastal Carolina are being subjected to. Today, they'll be interviewed, talk to, those production meetings that they always talk about on the NFL broadcast. That's what is happening at the Chuck Box today, and our own Connor Happer, who will be on the field for all of the championship series games with Westwood One. We're very proud of him. We're very thrilled that he has the opportunity to do that. So we'll allow him the time to prep for this weekend's championship series between LSU and Coastal Carolina. Should be a very good series. We'll preview it here over the next 4 hours. I am producer Josh Odson. I'm in a room by myself. It is roughly 137 degrees in here. Part of that is because it's also 137 degrees outside, but we press on, don't we, folks? I did get a text during the break. We'll get to kind of setting the stage for today's show, but tying a loose end on the crossover, of which there are many, but one that I can actually tie up is from our friends over at Chinook Seedery. They are going to come on the show and talk to us tomorrow about the Golden Spikes Award. We asked when they are giving away that trophy. The award ceremony is at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So if we sweet talked Brandon from Chinook, we could, emphasis on could, break that news on 1620 The Zone. They did want me to pass along that all 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists will be signing autographs at the Chinook booth at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So you want to get there bright and early at the Omaha Baseball Village. If you know where our booth is, just keep walking right on past us because we won't be there at 10 a.m. Walk back all the way to the back, and the fellas from Chinook are there. They got a wrestling belt. They got like a photo booth, I guess, is what, for lack of a better word. Really cool setup over there with the guys who make the best sunflower seeds in the biz right now over there at Chinook. They got Bobby Witt Jr. flavors. Yeah. They do good work over there, and they are friends of 1620 The Zone. We will be there tomorrow for a show beginning at, I'm told, 3 o'clock. I haven't looked yet. One day at a time during the College World Series. I'm very, very tired, but as Connor said yesterday, I'll take care of it, and that's what I'm doing today. Radio Daddy's got you until 2 o'clock, so we will talk to Bryan Munson at 11. I'm going to ask him, hey, 2026, when do we get worried? Are we worried? I'm kind of worried. Is anyone else worried? He'll either calm my fears or tell me, you know what, you hit the nail right on the head, Josh. So it's going to be one or the other. I just don't know which. Brian Christopherson will join us at 11:30. We'll talk all things Huskers with him and, of course, our good friend Steven M Sipple, Esquire, at 12:30. Probably touch on some Husker topics with him, but always fun to get his opinions on just life in general. He's a good sounding board. If you have an idea, he can go places, and we will certainly go to some weird places with Steve Sipple later this afternoon. NBA Finals, we are headed to a Game 7 somehow, some way. I watched it, and I don't really know how, but we'll discuss that. We'll preview LSU and Coastal Carolina over the weekend. Game 1 tomorrow night. Game 2, remember, Game 2 with the moving it to ABC. It's on in the afternoon. Great time slot to potentially crown a champion on Sunday afternoon. And then if necessary, Monday night would be the decisive Game 3. We'll get you ready for the weekend. All sorts of different ways we can do that. All sorts of different ways you can get in touch with us. All of the guests today join us via the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Remember, we'll be giving out $100 gift card to the Sky Bar and Grill at Prairie Flower Casino. We do that every week, okay? So you want to enter to win that at 1620thezone.com. It's a very good website. You can get in touch with us on the Zone inbox, Equitable Bank Zone inbox. I take banking personally. Equitable Bank JTech.com is where you can find them. You can get in touch with us on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at 1620 The Zone, at Happer Show, or at producer_Josh. No shortage of ways to get a hold of us in general, but especially on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. And all of today's guests, the lineup, all of it is powered by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Sirius XM's Mike Farron is a big fan of their jingle, as I'm sure you've heard from a bunch of people over the last 24 hours. One final day in the studio for us, and then we are back at the Village tomorrow. Gary and Matt will be hosting a special edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct, I think is what it'll probably be, at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So come down, say hi to us. We'll have if you come down and say hi, we'll make it worth your while. I don't know how. We'll have Gary and Matt there. You can take a selfie with Matt. You can we'll have some bats on the table. You can touch them, I guess. Take a couple of hacks. I don't know. Kids love those bats. They come up and they go, "Whoa, torpedo bats!" And then their dads usually say, "Why don't you learn how to hit the ball first, son?" And then the kid gets very disappointed and walks away. So it's been fun to watch that. Oh, of course, I forgot. Probably the easiest way to get a hold of us today, by us, I mean me, the YouTube chat. We're 1620thezone.com. You can easily access it there, or zonetv.live, as Charles gets in the chat and says, "Hello, friends." How Jim Nance of you, Charles. We like that here. The YouTube, easiest way to get in touch with us because it's right in front of my face. I don't have to flip over to any other tabs and figure out who's trying to get a hold of us. But we'll have some fun today. We will, no one's here to stop me from doing whatever the hell I want to do between now and the crossover with the boys from Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Charles says, "I got a koozie when I met the guys, kept my Coors Light cold during the Coastal OSU game." That's right. We got now. Pro tip: here's what you do. The koozies are quote unquote in the back. They're not out on the tables anymore. We held on to some of those koozies for a special occasion. You come up to the booth tomorrow. You find me. Don't ask Gary. Don't ask Matt. They won't know what the hell you're talking about. You find me, and you say, "Hey, Josh, heard you got one of those koozies in the back." I'll hook you up, okay? Just between friends. Just for one day, just between friends. You come find me. I'll get you a Zone koozie, okay? Okay? Don't tell anyone. Don't be like, "Oh my gosh, everybody, Josh is giving out koozies." That's not what's happening. But for special friends of the Connor Happer Show, I can make an accommodation. Okay? Let's start the show. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll begin to dip our toe in the water of previewing the College World Series finals between LSU and Coastal Carolina. I think we are set for a very good final. I'm not doing the thing. It's a very excellently played finals. I think we're on tap to get a very entertaining final 2 or 3 games this weekend. We'll tell you about it next on the Connor Happer Show. 1620 The Zone. This weekend marks the end of the 2025 College World Series, the 75th such edition to take place in Omaha, a place I've called home for the last 40 years. During these 10 days, we put our best foot forward as a city. We play host to thousands of visitors. Some are old friends by now. Others are seeing the gateway to the West for the first time. We'll exchange a kind word or two with these guests. They'll thank us as we go our separate ways, and they'll never know that this event means more to us than it does to their rabid fan base. It's the one chance a year we get to show off to the rest of the world. It's the one time the spotlight is where it should be, on the greatest city in the world. As we say goodbye to the Diamond edition of the CWS, let's take a minute to appreciate the greats of the Diamond that have paid us a visit over the last 3/4 of a century. There's Robin Ventura and his hit streak that was longer than Joe DiMaggio until he ran into blackjack. Terry Francona and his 7 straight hits. Dave Winfield struck everyone out until he didn't. Guys who go by one name, Noma, Bonds. Guys who go by just a nickname, like Rocket. We remember the Cinderella teams where getting to Omaha was the victory in itself. Stony Brook in 2012. Of course, Fresno State winning the whole damn thing in 2008. And I think it'll be a long, long time until we forget Murray State made the College World Series. That actually happened. Rarely does the city have a rooting interest, but occasionally the hometown team or home state team has entered the field. The Jays making it all the way to the semifinals in 1991. The Huskers made the short trip up I-80 twice with Dave Van Horn at the helm before finally picking up that elusive first win under Mike Anderson in 2005. The highlights replay in our heads in perpetuity. Warren Morris walking it off in 1996. Tommy Tanks sending one over the wall in the 11th to end Skeens versus Louder. And your brain better save a spot for Gage Wood fanning 19 en route to becoming the 3rd human being ever to throw a no-hitter at Omaha's crown jewel. How can you not be romantic about baseball? It's a game that will humble you and have you coming back for more. A game that we all fell in love with that will break your heart more times than not. Just ask the Arkansas 9 from Wednesday night. We sign up for the pain. It's a contract we unknowingly enter when we go through the turnstile. On any given day, you may see something you've never seen before. Now that thing can bring you joy or devastate you for years. I love Omaha. I love the College World Series. It's sacred. The Chuck is hallowed ground to me. We're making memories together. And hopefully this weekend, LSU and Coastal Carolina can make a few more.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. It is the Connor Happer Show. He is out prepping for the College World Series finals between Coastal Carolina and LSU. You can hear it right here on 1620 The Zone tomorrow night. Producer Josh in for Connor today. We're now joined by Bryan Munson on the Prairie Flower Casino Hotline. Bryan, welcome. How you doing?
How does one prep to do the college? Is it Jello shots, or how do we do that? I mean, I need that gig. I need that gig.
I believe it is a combination of Jello shots while talking to the players.
Ooh, now things get a little blurry.
Exactly.
You keep going through the interviews.
Well, some of these college kids, they come in, they're not used to doing the media interviews, so you got to loosen them up somehow, and that's where the Jello shots come in.
No, I tell you what, College World Series to me is like a lot like Nebraska football. It's like the ultimate fishbowl. It's like that you've got that media presence there like they've never seen before, and they're coming to Nebraska, and you get these media days, and you got 10, 15, microphones in front of you looking for a quote and whatever. I mean, it's just kind of the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit of an awakening for them, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But, you're here to talk recruiting. The people want to hear about the recruiting.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
Trey Taylor says the Huskers got one on Twitter this morning. Any word on who it might be?
Well, I think that the smart money right now is on Luke Sorensen, the tight end from Anaheim Servite. Luke, recently kind of shut things down, even though he was like pending additional official visits, or at least an official visit. I think he had his fourth one set up and he canceled it. So I think the smart money is on Luke, and I think this is a really, really good get for Luke, as I, kind of going back thinking about his huddle, which has been gosh, I can't believe it's only been 2 weeks and it feels like it's been 2 months, but going back thinking about Luke's film, he's not like a physically imposing tight end. I think he's about 6'4", 240. So, I kind of selfishly looked at him a little bit like a Dawson Knox, but I think he's really more like a Chris Cooley for the people who can remember the Utah State star and the Washington Redskins star. I think he just gets the most out of what he has. He's enough to kind of put in the inline kind of tight end position, and he's willing to kind of stick his nose in some places where, usually that 6'7", 260, 270 pound tight end that can kind of, work on a tackle or, take on a defensive end on a one-on-one or whatever, like those kind of guys that would usually be more, a little bit more physically imposing could do. I think what Luke does is that he has kind of a no fear attitude, and I think he does things just kind of with good technique. And I think that there's ways to kind of work around that and ways to work with that. But I think the other part that really I liked about his film when I watched it was he gets involved in a lot of different ways. He gets involved in the screen game. He gets involved in like the crossing patterns. He's also like the guy that you can put up on the post route, and then he realizes he really shouldn't, move too much further past the first safety because he needs to set down between the zones, and and he can catch a ball right there, even if he's going to get tackled by both of them. He can get a good gainer. So I think he's a smart player. Like if you had to summarize what I just said, I think he's a very smart player. I think that helps him get around some of those physical kind of limitations, but I think also he's still good enough to put up there next to a tackle. I think he's fast enough and athletic enough to put out there, into a flex spot. So if this is who, we're talking about, who Trey's talking about for today, I think that this will be a really good get for Nebraska. And it makes a lot of sense too. I mean, things really got weird with the tight end position. You had Isaac Jensen, you had Camden Jensen, you had Lincoln Watkins, and you had basically Luke, and things really kind of boiled down to just having that one guy kind of at the end. So good get for Nebraska, and obviously keeps them out there with that California presence.
Bryan Munson from Husker Online joining us on the Connor Happer Show. What are you hearing out of last night's camp that the Huskers held?
Yeah, not a lot. The transfer guys, the grad transfer guys, I just don't know if Nebraska's really in like that market. Like I don't think that there's much of a need. I don't think there's really much of a need there at all, for Nebraska to kind of go out there and kind of start keep plugging holes like in the roster. I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why things have been so slow, like with recruiting, is just that Nebraska kind of went out and maybe overdid it, or went out and had a lot of spend associated to their portal transfer guys they brought in January. So nothing really, too earth shattering out of last night. I would bring up, Dennis Tuolone, who is a athlete in the 2028 class. Now he came to Nebraska last night to participate in camp. He already has an offer. He's really kind of a big time athlete, played wide receiver as a freshman, and going to move to quarterback because out of necessity, but really still being recruited more as as a wide receiver guy. So I need to catch up with Dennis later on today. He wasn't really feeling it last night. So I'll catch up with him later today, but kind of quiet to kind of close camps down. I mean, I think it's just kind of been one of those summers where the grind just kind of wore everybody out, and now everybody's kind of willing to kind of go back and say the camp season's over with. So yeah, not a lot of news except for one 2020 offer that came in to have camp.
Another weekend, another batch of recruits coming in. What are we expecting this weekend on the recruiting front?
Yeah, a busy week. I mean, I think that this week gets overlooked a little bit. I think people kind of going into Monday started getting concerned. There were several folks that were kind of falling off the list. Tank Carrington fell out, and a couple other guys fell out too. And Nebraska backfilled them, with a few guys, and then they snuck in a couple of midweek guys. So let's start with the midweek guys, because I still have an update coming today on Zion Robinson. Zion Robinson took a midweek official visit. He was there, I think, Tuesday through Thursday. Kind of a Mansfield, Texas guy. So it's kind of mid cities between Dallas and Fort Worth. 4-star wide receiver, taking a couple of official visits before. I think that Nebraska, did a good job here. He's off to Stanford this weekend. He's going to make a decision here in a couple, 3 weeks. So I think it's going to be one to kind of keep an eye on. And then you also had Tadarius Hughes, and I ran Tadarius Hughes's update last night. Florida State commitment. So there's kind of this thing going back and forth between Nebraska and Florida State, who flipped CJ Bronow. There's been several other recruits that kind of have Florida State as well as Syracuse, basically in their top list of suitors. But Nebraska brings in a Florida State commitment. He doesn't flip, doesn't do anything like that, but he does say at the end, "I will return. I will be back to Nebraska this fall." So kind of an interesting situation there going on with Hughes. I don't anticipate a huge number of open recruiting situations into the fall. So if Hughes is one, that's a good one. He's a 4-star safety there out of Homestead, Florida, Northwestern High School. So that's a big one. But then you bring in 8 guys a day, including 2 commitments. So you bring in Jace Reynolds, obviously from Elkhorn North, and you bring in Dayton Raiola. And Dayton has been, up there in Lincoln, helping out with recruiting before today. But today he gets his official visit, and there's a really big reason why, and that's because, Nebraska's bringing in also in Nayland Scott, the wide receiver from Powder Springs, Georgia, who actually committed to Arizona State back in April. And that was kind of an oddball commitment. The timing was weird. How he shut things down, all those things. And I think Arizona State's kind of a stickler for, not having their commitments take additional visits. I don't think they like the look of it, is how I would kind of summarize it. So I'll be interested to see, kind of what the situation is with Scott on different things. But I think the big headliner this weekend is Claude Mpuma, who is the big offensive tackle from Chicago, Illinois, Mount Carmel High School. He's a 6'8", 260-pound guy. I think Nebraska's there. I think Florida is there. I think Auburn is there for his services. Danny Odom comes back this weekend. He's a 4-star cornerback. I think some things have really kind of changed for him since the last time he was in Lincoln. I think Penn State's made a hard charge, so has OU. Devin Jackson will be back in town. Devin actually visited Nebraska back in February as well. Another 4-star safety. He was a Florida decommit. So kind of an interesting guy there. And then you get into a couple, like Javion Cooper. Javion Cooper picked up an offer from Nebraska in April, but he was committed to Syracuse. Again, a Syracuse reference. And he's coming in this weekend to take a look. He's an offensive tackle. He's a big guy, 6'4", 295. So, keep an eye on him. And then one other guy to mention here is Larry Miles. Larry Miles, a 3-star wide receiver from Winter Gardens, Florida. This guy is connected to Trey Taylor. So Trey Taylor and he are friends, I think, going back to 7-on-7. So Trey was very excited for Larry when Larry picked up the offer from Nebraska. So I'll be kind of interested to see how things kind of move here for Larry in Nebraska now that he's going to be back on campus this weekend.
Going back to Darius Hughes, not to get catty for a minute, but allow me, if you will. Florida State commitment. Is this? Could there be some bad blood between the coaching staffs? Not maybe that's a bad way to frame it, but is it?
No.
Hey, we had Nebraska had targeted this guy, and then the coaching staff goes to Florida State, and like they now know about him because he was a Nebraska target. And is there sort of a tug of war going on there because of the coaching staffs, or what's going on there?
Well, I think that, I think Nebraska was recruiting him when that part of the coaching staff was still in Lincoln. And then they left for Tallahassee, and he had come off the board actually almost a year ago. I think it was like July 4th last year. He committed to the Seminoles. So then those guys joined their staff over there in Tallahassee, like in either November, December, or January. And then Nebraska had just remained consistent, with kind of keeping up communication with him since he decommitted, probably was back through some of that previous staff. Then I think the new staff kind of picked things up again, refamiliarize yourself with, Coach Addison Williams and, what's going on the defense. And here's how things are. You need to come back in and take a look at this stuff. So that conversation kind of happens. I don't think it started out that way. I think it's kind of morphed into some of that. And I think some of that's kind of legit. I think there's been a little bit of mudslinging, across social media at one another, whether it's from portal transfer players or coaches, back over to the others. But, whatever. I think here it started out legitimate. I think it's morphed into having a little bit more there. But I think that in the end, ultimately, I think Nebraska sees Tadarius as a guy that can play either safety spot and potentially have a little bit more versatility in their secondary to play another position or two if they needed him to.
Bryan Munson from Husker Online joining us. Forgive my ignorance on this one, but everyone seems so impressed by Trey Taylor. What is it about him that has everyone going gaga? I mean, he seems to be excited to be here. He seems to be excited about getting other people to come here. I mean, he seems like a dream recruit.
I had a great conversation with him, and I ran it in 3 and Out on Wednesday morning. And if you've not read it, I would suggest you did, because he kind of outlines, the predicament that Nebraska finds themselves in, essentially with recruiting a lot of players outside the area. They don't know why they're traveling to Nebraska. They don't anticipate seeing the things that are there. They expect there to be wide open spaces, a lot of cornfields, probably people riding around on horseback, campfires, and that kind of thing. But when Trey went, not necessarily kicking and screaming to Nebraska, but he went there thinking, why am I going there? Why am I going to go take a look at Nebraska? And then when he was getting off the plane and getting into Lincoln, it was, eye-opening. And I think that that's been one of the things like that he has kind of said time and time again, was that you just have to come and see it. And that's Nebraska's biggest problem. Nebraska's biggest problem is trying to find reasons and ways to get recruits to visit Lincoln. And it's not an easy place to get to. number one. Being in the middle of the country has its disadvantages. And geographically speaking, there's not a lot of stuff kind of going on for it either. You're not near the beach. You're not near the mountains. You don't have a Nashville or some other big metropolitan area kind of next to it. So it's not a touristy kind of attraction place. And you say, oh, all of a sudden there's the University of Nebraska. It doesn't have that, but that's, I think, one of the things that really makes it special. And I think that that's what Trey realized as well, is when you take that trip, you go see Nebraska and you realize, I got to go there and go to school and play football. And there's really those things there to kind of keep my mind right. Because there's not a lot of distractions. There's just these things, the things that I am concerned with, the things I need to kind of go take it and make it to the next level. And then I think then deep down, what you find is it's an incredibly special place. It's an incredibly special place because of the type of money that is put back into the program and the type of people that are around the program. I think that that's really what has been overwhelmingly for 26 years of doing this. I think overwhelmingly that's what it's always come back to, is that the people there with the program, they're incredible. And they don't ever find those same type of people at every level and every different place to be as great as what they see at Nebraska. And that's what I think Trey just wants to bring people in to kind of see that. So his interview with me in 3 and Out, go read it. It's phenomenal. He breaks down all those things you talk about, but I think the reason why he is he's so involved 7-on-7. He's such a supporter of all the other recruits. Like, he wants them all to be successful and in their own journeys. And I think he does a great job of kind of pushing that out there on social media. But I think also the big rooted thing is he's really good at football. And I think that people know that Nebraska's bringing in another incredible quarterback into a very talented quarterback room. And that's why a guy like Luke Sorensen today or whatever, or tomorrow, he may be choosing Nebraska, because a big reason why he's choosing Nebraska because the quarterbacks in Nebraska are really good.
Absolutely. Bryan Munson, I'll get you out of here on this. I'll let you crack that first weekend beverage, we'll put it that way, after you answer this question. Every so often it just kind of pops up. 2026. Should I be worried? Can you calm me down? Where do I need to be mentally on the 2026 class?
Yeah. Well, I have some concerns too.
Okay.
My concerns really, I think the offensive backfield, I think to me is the running backs room is a little bit concerning to me. I think they have talent. I don't think a lot of it is tested. And I get concerned, and I'm not a big proponent for people to kind of run all these scenarios about, well, if this guy gets hurt and this guy transfers and whatever. I don't like doing that, but I find myself having to go there a little bit, with EJ back there in the running backs room. And if you did have to do a scramble and you were looking then at Ives and Booth and Parker and others that are back there in the room, what does that kind of look like on a Saturday if you don't have Emmett Johnson there for you? And I think Emmett's done a great job of preparing his body for a long, grueling Big Ten season, because he doesn't look like the same guy that left the field last fall. He looks entirely different. But I think for me, it starts on the offensive side of the football in the running backs room, and I think the other side of the football for me, the problem is up front. I know they brought in several bodies, but I don't know how all those pieces kind of get put together to kind of have the same kind of production that you had before in years past. And that's really, really hard with no Hutmacher and no Robinson, and you've lost other key pieces outside of those two guys, but it kind of starts up there in the middle. I mean, you got to build your offensive line and your defensive lines, and to be really successful in the Big Ten. And I stare at it a little bit, and I think there's a lot of piece parts, but I just don't know how they all kind of come together and how they complement each other, and maybe how you cover some things up, even possibly too, with like your linebackers and your walk-up edge guys and all that good stuff. So I think that those are my two big questions. I think Nebraska can find a rhythm. I think that that's the biggest part. And I think they're going to be a lot better on the offensive line, which could take some pressure off that running back position. And I think the linebackers could be really, really solid for Nebraska this season. So those are my two big concerns. But I'm still thinking it's like 7.5 wins is kind of over under. And I think honestly, to be less than that would be very disappointing for that team this fall.
Well, that was a terrible downer of a note. Cheer us up. What are you doing this weekend?
What else am I doing this weekend?
Yeah, what are you doing this weekend? Anything fun that can lighten the mood?
College World Series. We're definitely doing that. And then, yeah, I can't lighten the mood much more than that, buddy, because the rest of the stuff is outdoor work that I have neglected since my son's football camp started up 3 weeks ago. So I'm going to be outside sweating and getting things kind of cleaned up because it's very overgrown outside of my house.
We understand. We've been at the ballpark the last 10 days. Brian, crack open that first beverage. You got to hydrate, if you're going to be outside sweating. So hydrate.
That's what I tell my boss. Yeah, he doesn't have to need to know. It's on a need to know basis what, but yes, it's definitely getting cracked open soon.
Precisely. Bryan Munson, Husker Online. Go read everything he does over there. Thank you for the time today. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend. See ya.
There he is, Bryan Munson, Husker Online. Probably should have started with that 2026 question. That's on me, everybody. I point the thumb. But there was some good stuff in there. Hitting it hard this week and into this weekend on Twitter at Bryan Munson. And then there's a little underscore after that. So it's Bryan Munson underscore. You want to read all the stuff he does over there. When we return, we will talk to Bryan Christopherson, another Bryan spelled differently. Bryan Munson goes with a Y, and Bryan Christopherson, goes with an I. So idiots like me don't confuse the two. We call Bryan Christopherson BC, and he will join us next. He just released a new piece about the defense. We'll ask him about that. And anything else that creeps up into my head over the next 5 minutes or so as the pressers have begun at the Chuck, Coastal Carolina, going first. They are in the press conference room. I see it. It is teal and it is spectacular down there at the College World Series this weekend ahead of the finals between LSU and Coastal Carolina. You can hear it right here on 1620 The Zone. Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7. He joins us next on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian. Bryan Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B-Rony drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
$11:30 on a Friday morning means we're talking to Bryan Christopherson, as usual. Friday time slot with us here on the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh in for Connor today as he is at the car wash, they call it, for the College World Series Championship Finals. BC, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
We, as I told you on the phone, me is good. I'm so used to saying we are good because there's usually someone in this room with me, but not today. Quick vibe check on the Twins before we get rolling here.
They ended a 6-game losing streak yesterday, so I guess you just look at what have you done in the last 24 hours, and so we'll say we're about to start a charge again. So they're at 500 right now, game out of the wild card, and it feels like Cleveland, the Twins, and Royals have sort of been disinterested the last week or two in helping their wild card chances. But we've got 100 some games left, so patience, right?
Yeah, exactly. You'll get there. You just posted a story about the defense. What's sort of the strategy with the new coordinator?
Yeah, the story really is about how, if you go back to December and you listen to Matt Rule talk about the hiring of John Butler, and also when he's done interviews recently, while they haven't been specific about some of the finer points, which you wouldn't expect them to give away those details about tweaks they might make, I think they have really laid out in general, like the main areas they're targeting at getting better, and that's red zone defense, it's third down defense, and they want to be more advanced on third down with their blitzes and coverages. And so my story is kind of looking at some of the numbers that are connected to those ideas. Like, for instance, last year, people will remember Nebraska had a couple good goal line stands. And in fact, in the Pinstripe Bowl, they had 2 stops of Boston College inside the 15-yard line, one down inside the 2-yard line that helped them win that game. But if you look at the overall numbers of 24, Nebraska ranked 51st in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. So there's room to grow when you go through like 4 or 5 of those stats that are connected to getting a couple percentage points better in the red zone at keeping people out of the end zone. Just a couple more points if you could climb on third down. And then, yards per pass completion last year was like 7.4, and they need to get like a full yard better if they want to be like top 25 in that. So there's all sorts of numbers that I don't know if they have the same. They probably have their own goals that they're setting and that they're not going to speak out loud about, but it's just interesting to look at what progress would actually look like statistically for them.
And then can't go another block on campus without running into a recruit right now. What do we sort of know about the big recruiting push this week with all sorts of different camps and visits going on?
Yeah, it's a big weekend. There's 8 officials that are coming in. Some people who are frequent social media probably just saw like Trey Taylor posting a picture of him with Claude and Puma.
That's a large human.
Yeah, he is. Listed at 308 by our guys. So I don't know what he was on the scale this morning, but he's a big cat. He's a 4-star, top 250 recruit. So he's big. You've got a couple of guys who are already in the class in Dayton Ryle and Jace Reynolds, but there's intriguing guys who are committed elsewhere. Like they managed to get, we're expecting Nayland Scott to be on campus, the wide receiver who's committed to Arizona State, who of course is fresh off a CFP run, and he's still going to go through, seems like, with his Nebraska visit. Javian Cooper's another lineman who's committed to Syracuse, who's expected. Larry Miles is an interesting wide receiver out of Orlando. So Definitely, especially when you add in that they had Zion Robinson, who's a wide receiver, is a 4-star in the middle of the week. There's some guys that you'd love to sign up if you could, or get them raise their hand at this point at least and say they're committed. That said, I don't think, they're not going to fill just to fill at this point. So anybody that they have on campus or whatever, it's somebody they're really, really interested in. And you can't force the issue, because we can't forget, I know there's some people who are a little panicked, like they don't have enough commits in this 26 class and all that. But you got to combine what's happening in this recruiting class with also the portal cycle that just happened and is going to happen. And Nebraska added 15 players in the last portal cycle. And of those 15, 10 of those guys have multiple years to play in the program. So they're kind of like semi high school, they're recruits who you're hoping you get a few years out of, that join through the portal. So I think you got to look at it as a whole when you look at recruiting, not just the recruiting ranking for the class, but say, okay, that's what that is, but how does that attach to the portal stuff that's happened on each side of it?
Also a big push going on in California, and Matt Rule drops this quote earlier this week. Quote, "It's a quick flight to Nebraska. It's not too far." What can we make about the California recruits and Matt Rule's thoughts on travel?
Well, yeah, that was a quote from this spring with Urban Meyer on his podcast when they were talking about recruiting nationally. And he was just making the point, which I think is a good one to make to those guys. Nebraska being in the middle of the country, the Husker staff's always going to sell that as a big advantage to these guys. Like, we're living in a day and age in college football where conferences are spread from coast to coast, and there is something to be said for, hey, we can set you up for shop here right in the middle of it all, and your family can get out here easy enough to see you. We're going to play games against USC and UCLA now, since they're part of the conference. And of course, with Washington and Oregon in there, you have some of that too. And so I think you can make that sell to some Cali kids that, you're connected to it in the same way that happened, long ago when Nebraska first joined the Big 12. And you could tell kids like, hey, you're going to play some games in Texas, and your family will be able to see it right by you in their own state. So I think that's what he's talking about there, and just laying out the benefits of being centrally located. I do like the fact that Matt Rule has looked at that as an advantage, when sometimes we've actually heard head coaches in the past at Nebraska complain about the geography of it, and there's nothing to be gained by that. Look at what you can gain from it, and I think that's what he's doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're never going to have a cross-country flight, right? Because of your location, right? I mean, that's an advantage over some places.
It's an advantage. I mean, I'll say you can sell that, and you can sell to kids who maybe they're used to warmer weather climates, but if they happen to visit when it's colder, you also turn on a playoff game that's going on and be like, you want to play at the next level, right? You want to play, you're going to have to play in all elements, and we can train you with that too. And there's going to be good weather here as well, which obviously the kids who are visiting this weekend see that it can get to 100 just as easily here. So yeah, I think it's all useful, bullet points you can put out in front of guys, and some will gravitate towards it and some won't. But probably the biggest takeaway to me, Josh, this June with recruiting is that the Huskers have set the table with a lot of 27 and 28 guys in a very good way. They've had, I think, more talent on campus ahead a cycle or two than I can remember. And now the big key is that thing we always talk about. It's like, go win a couple more games, show that you are making that year 3 climb, that you're not talking about this is what we're going to do, but you actually did it this fall. And if you produce that, I think they will have a good chance with some 27, 28 guys. And who knows, there's maybe a few 26 guys who could come back around as well.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7. We'll get you out of here on this. It was kind of big picture topic Connor and I were talking about yesterday. Matt Rule being the face of the program, being at all these different events, all these different podcasts, talking to seemingly everyone who asks for his time. Good thing, bad thing? Does he need to win more, or is it a non-issue with you?
I think it's a good thing. It's not everything, but it's a good thing, and I wouldn't say it would ever be a bad thing. I understand there's that mentality with some who's like, just put your head down and always be in the film room or something like that. That's not the way it works, Like the time is being spent an exceeding amount to try to raise the football play and win a few more games and all the stuff that's required with that. But part of being the head coach, I think, especially in this time we're at in college football, is being out there and being, a sort of a voice of stability too for your program. Where recruits look at it, they say, a lot's changing. The ground's kind of moving underneath me, but it seems like there's some consistency to that program, and maybe compared to some other places. And if you can get that point across, that's a big deal. The other thing is, I've thought this, because I think we're all interested whenever Matt Rule talks. He's an engaging guy and interesting to listen to. If Nebraska did raise it up where they were one of the elite programs again, and like in the CFP, I think Rule would be one of the top voices in college football. Like he'd be one of those coaches that people want to hear from, or his quotes travel a lot. They already do. But imagine now if Nebraska did win a few more games and was like in the CFP or something in one of these upcoming years, that only adds to that. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing if you have a coach who can't speak well or doesn't explain his ideas well. But Rule is pretty gifted at communicating.
That's pretty much where we landed yesterday. That he's a rolling advertisement for Nebraska football. That's not really a bad thing.
No, it's not, and it's part of his role. And I think also it helps too when he's got some guys with head coaching or like coordinator experience too that can help fill in gaps other places. Like the addition of Phil Snow is critical in that area. Like you're getting some added football stuff done with someone like that in your building. Obviously, Dana Holgerson's been a head coach, and so I think the more you can fill your staff out with those type of guys, with those type of resumes, maybe it opens you up a little bit more to do some of that other part of the job that is seemingly required with being a head coach. He's good at it. And I also think it's interesting, like look at Dana, like going from head coach to OC. There's also something to be said that's where we've seen it with Chip Kelly and guys like Dana. I think there's some of those guys who are actually enjoying that they're not the head coach for a couple of years and they can just coach ball and, do that sort of thing as the coordinator. And so there's kind of that interesting storyline too.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Thank you for the time. Wonderful work. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
There he is, BC, at Husker 247 BC. Go find him. Go read the work. It's very, very good stuff. We appreciate BC joining us on his usual Friday time slot. When we come back, we'll do the odd news. I was sent a story during that segment that I immediately threw one story out, and I said, I got to replace it with this. This is incredible. I can't believe this person would say this. I guess it does kind of track, but it is interesting. It is odd. And we will discuss it next, that and two other stories. It's the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh flying solo today. Let's see if I can land this plane here on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter at Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Odd news time on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Producer Josh here as Connor prepares for the College World Series finals. We'll get into that in the next segment. But for right now, we got to do a Pope update. Been a while since we've updated you on Pope Leo the 14th. That's his name, right? Like, that's the name he picked. I'm not used to it. You know, normally you hear the Pope's name and you're like, yes, that's the Pope's name. It still hasn't sunk in with me that, yes, the new Pope is Pope Leo the 14th. He is slowly turning the Vatican City into the Windy City because Pope Leo the 14th was back showing major love for the White Sox this week. The pontiff put his fandom on display. I don't know if you know this. The Pope is American. He's a White Sox fan. He's a Big East Pope in Villanova. Shout out Pope. Put his fandom on display this week with White Sox chants erupting during the general audience address on Wednesday, acknowledging the message of support for the ball club as he cruised around in the Pope Mobile. Since being elected, Leo has embraced his South Side ties with open arms, and he's no stranger to wearing his fandom on his sleeve. Last week, he was seen wearing a White Sox cap. We had that on the video stream here, and we marveled at just the idea of the Pope being a White Sox fan. Now, this article goes on to denigrate the White Sox and talk about how they could really use a miracle right now as they're 23-50, sitting at the very bottom of the American League. I wouldn't have said that. I guess it does pad the article a little bit, but I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to a world where the Pope is so American, you know, just not even the baseball, not even the Big East of it all, just American. He'll have American tendencies. That he's also I'm told a young Pope, so he's young, he's American. It still boggles my mind that this happened. I'm interested to see where it goes, but for right now, we move on to the state of Iowa, our neighbors to the east. We love you. We respect you. I would have pulled this story no matter where it was from, okay? Know that going in. Animal rescuers were called to a Buffalo Wild Wings in Iowa to wrangle an unusual visitor, a live chicken. The Animal Rescue League of Iowa shared a photo on social media showing a chicken at the front door of the B-Dubs on Southeast 14th in Des Moines, and they titled it with the very clever caption, "What the cluck?" All right. In normal instances, there's a lot of puns and odd news stories that we roll our eyes at. I'm kind of okay with this one. It's kind of funny. Talk about a chicken on the wrong side of the road. Now, see, that's a step too far. I don't like that one. What the cluck was good, though. The poor confused hen, quote unquote, was collected by an Animal Rescue League Animal Services officer. The hen is not currently available for adoption, but they say they have many others who are. Boy, that's a real dangerous situation for a chicken to be just walking around. If you're trying to run a business that serves chicken wings, and there's a chicken roaming the restaurant floor, industry term, front of the house. Yeah, I know all the terms. It's fine. You need to get that under control. You need to get that chicken out of there, or people will talk, and not the way you want them talking. It turned out okay, but I definitely think there was maybe like a 30-minute period there where the chicken's wandering around, and people are talking like, "Hey, what did that chicken sneak out of the back?" Industry term, back of the house. Hey, this chicken's just walking around. Are there a bunch of chickens back there that they're slaughtering before our very eyes? I would not be okay with that. Want to be crystal clear. Buffalo Wild Wings does not butcher the chicken in the back of the restaurant. Okay. I don't know that to be a fact. I'm like 97.5% sure that is the case. I'm willing to go on air with it. Sources indicating to me that's not how they do business at Buffalo Wild Wings. Oscars would never. I'm just saying. Finally, this is the story that was sent to me in the last segment while I was talking to Bryan Christopherson. Great stuff from the brothers Bryan. They're not brothers, but I didn't know what to call a pair of people who talk to us who have the same name, Bryan and Bryan. Great stuff. Radio replay, 1620thezone.com. Skip Bayless. This isn't, well, you decide if it's problematic. I think it's more funny than problematic, but on the latest episode of Skip versus Ernest, I never know how to pronounce his wife's name. I'm sorry. I'm a young man. I'm an idiot. The podcast featuring Skip Bayless and his wife, the 72-year-old former FS1 and ESPN host, weighed in on the topics everyone has been waiting for, including Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover and his celebrity hall pass. These are not topics I was curious about, but am glad that someone has aggregated the answers for us. Skip would allow his wife a hall pass. We'll just leave it at that. If there's children in the car, we don't need to get too raunchy with this. Skip would give his wife a hall pass for 85-year-old Al Pacino. My goodness, that's an image. As for his own hall pass, no, it's not that former coworker, okay? I know there's some of you making that joke in your car right now. Not her. If Bayless could have a hall pass with any celebrity, he would pick Marie Osmond. And be careful, Mrs. Bayless, because according to Skip, Osmond has the hots for him. Quote, "We went to see Donnie and Marie in Vegas." Very on brand from Skip. And I'm looking at Marie and I'm like, gosh, she is hot. One thing led to another, and I think she kind of likes me, kind of has a crush on me. End quote. What in that string of garbage made you think that she has a crush on you? Because you were there in attendance? That's not enough, Skip. Come on. Whew. Marie, I'm available, Bayless said before asking his wife if he really has a hall pass. Would you give me a pass? You wouldn't really give me a pass. If it really came to be, you would say no. But his wife insisted she would eagerly give Skip the hall pass, suggesting he could even go away with Osmond for a month if she agreed. Marie, how about a month in Barbados? Skip proposed, and then it will be over. It will be over. That's all you have to do is 1 month. Kyle, get the TikTok cam ready. Marie, do not, under any circumstance, go to Barbados with Skip Bayless for any period of time. For an hour, a weekend, a week. Certainly not a month. Do not do that. No one is forcing you to do that. I just want to be crystal clear about that. Wow. That is a story I wish someone else was in this room to laugh about it with me. But there isn't. Once again, to recap, Skip Bayless has revealed his celebrity hall pass is Marie Osmond. And he has it in his warped pea brain that she is into it. She is not. She is Marie Osmond. She will not give you the time of day, Mr. Bayless. Thank you, Kyle. Turn off the TikTok cam. When we come back, College World Series finals, the press conferences are going on, and shots have been fired. We will update you on the goings-on at the Chuck Box and preview the weekend series between LSU and Coastal Carolina. We'll do it next on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
He has the latest sports news, expert analysis, award-winning commentary, and a pocket full of cabbage.
Can you give us an indication why?
Just in case there's a sauerkraut emergency.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
No sauerkraut emergency today, but it's always good to be prepared here. Connor Happer Show, producer Josh in for Connor today. He is at the College World Series media press conference hullabaloo, I guess is the official title of it. I lied. That's not the official title of it. I would never be able to remember that. But there are press conferences going on. We will get to that, but reaction from the odd news pouring in, many of it having to do with Skip Bayless and the things he said on the podcast he has with his wife. Very unfortunate things. Asian Joe hits us up on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Hi, Joe. Skip Bayless thinking Marie Osmond is into him sounds like the guy who thinks the Hooters server is into him because she smiled and talked to him and they shared a moment that was totally unique to them. Absolutely right, Asian Joe. Skip Bayless is the guy who thinks the stripper is in love with him, who thinks the Hooters server. She touched my elbow, guys. No way she does that for every guy. Like, you hit the nail right on the head, Joe. John also emailed us in the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. They take banking personally there. Hi, John. So you got to do both parts of the bit. That Skip Bayless story is yet another reason the terrorists hate us. Deservedly so. Yeah, I kind of think you're right on that one, John. Sad but true, right? Like that's American exceptionalism gone wrong. Like it can go well, it can go poorly. Skip Bayless having a podcast with his wife where they talk about their celebrity hall passes and his being Marie Osmond and him thinking that Marie Osmond is legitimately into him because he attended one of her concerts. Yes. All of that is why the rest of the world maybe doesn't love us like we love ourselves. Now, self-esteem is important. Don't get me wrong, but time and place, am I right? And disgusting, Sam. I commented on Twitter that if you've listened to the show for any period of time, you know that I don't like clutter. I have a very tidy mail inbox, although right now I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 emails in my inbox, and that's about 3 or 4 too many. I don't like clutter. Now, if you went into my house, you would never know. I hate computer clutter. I don't have a lot of emails in my inbox. I can search them and find them if I need them. They don't need to be in my inbox. I'm not technologically savvy enough to put them into folders. I'm an idiot. I don't like a lot of internet tabs open because it's too busy. Where am I going? I don't know where to look. So I commented online, hey, I have 11 internet tabs open and I'm not okay with it. And many people are responding with photos of their internet tabs. Friend of the show, Sam. Hi, Sam. He has sent me a screenshot of his internet tabs, and I'm going to count them aloud. I apologize. It's not the best radio, but my God, this is a big number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Sam currently has 30 internet tabs open. He can't see what half of them are because there's no words. It's just a logo or that globe icon you get on Chrome when the company hasn't created an icon. It's disgusting, Sam. How do you live like that? Now, I understand there's a lot of things that people would look at me and go, Josh, how do you live like that? But my goodness, I need Connor here. He's better at this than me. Maybe he's better at a lot of things than me, but particularly hosting a show. Like I told you, like 5-6 minutes ago, I was going to start talking about the College World Series finals, and I haven't done that yet. See, he's better than me. I just open my mouth and start talking and don't stop until the clock says I can stop talking. It's just a stream of consciousness. What better segue to the CWS finals than that? Press conference is going on right now. At the Chuck Box, our own Connor Happer is there, but I don't know if I want to start with the business or the drama. I think I'm going to start with the business. We'll get to the drama. Maybe that'll hold over the audience. It's all about keeping you here. I don't know if anyone knew that, but Coastal Carolina will start Cameron Flukie tomorrow against LSU. The Tigers will counter with Cade Anderson. This tweet, announcement, whatever, comes from Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball. He says that allows the Chanticleers to give Jacob Morrison full rest leading into a likely Game 2 start. So the pitching is set up. Both of these teams, I don't want to say breezed through their brackets, but they did make it through their brackets unscathed, right? Neither of these teams has suffered a loss here in Omaha. Coastal Carolina in particular hasn't lost since what, April? I know they've said the date 47,000 times this week, but they've won 26 in a row. You're probably aware of that. That's a lot. It's the most ever going into a CWS finals. LSU, they went through their bracket unfazed. They defeated Arkansas twice. They got through it. They're here where they, I'm sure, expected to be on the front end of the College World Series. They're LSU. Their goals are different than a lot of other programs. And on Saturday, February 22nd, when LSU lost to Omaha, I'm sure they looked in the mirror and said, guys, what are we doing? No, just my way of working in that the Omaha Mavericks took one from LSU. That's pretty cool. It was cool that they played, and then it was even cooler that Omaha got one. But, it's one game to LSU, but hey, Omaha Mavericks beat LSU. That's pretty cool. The odds, 2/3 of the win probability, however they formulate that, on the side of LSU. But I got to tell you, the coach of Coastal Carolina, I won't dare say their mascot for fear of saying it incorrectly and having that large man yell at me. I just don't want that. I don't need that kind of heat. I got things to do. He said, hey, we're nobody's Cinderella. We're nobody's underdog. We're one of the best teams in the country. And doggone it, he's right. Year in, I know this is only the second time Coastal Carolina has been to the College World Series. They won it the last time they were here, but year in, year out, this is a team that has goals of reaching Omaha. This isn't a fun, cozy David versus Goliath story. Yes, the LSU Tigers are kind of like the New York Yankees of college baseball. And I know any Tigers fans listening to me right now are like, oh my gosh, don't compare us to them. Nobody likes being compared to the Yankees, but it's a symbol for you're the big dog. You're the big tiger, the big cat. You're what everyone is striving to be. You're the program everyone's trying to emulate, right? LSU, their goal is not to get here. Their goal is to win it all when they get here. That is the type of program Coastal Carolina is becoming. Second College World Series appearance, I know, but they're year in, year out, a tournament team. They're in a good baseball conference. It's not the best baseball conference in the country. I know many of you yelling at your radios, it's the Sun Belt. What's the Sun Belt? It's a very strong mid-major baseball conference, okay? There's a lot of good teams that play baseball in the Sun Belt. Yes, there are some less than good teams that play baseball in the Sun Belt, but Coastal Carolina is an emerging baseball power type of school. This is everyone's talking about how they're going to break up their rev share dollars, and Coastal Carolina is going to put a big chunk of it into their baseball program because year in, year out, they have an excellent program. They expect to get to Omaha, and their rev share money is going to go to football, baseball, and I guess whatever else is left to huck a few shekels out to. Like, they're not Murray State, okay? Like, I think we can at least find that middle ground with each other and admit to ourselves that they are above average. I think they're very good. I expected, I guess not expect, I predicted them to get to this spot. I thought they were playing the best ball coming into Omaha. And, some teams get to Omaha and the horse that they rode to Omaha goes cold. We saw it with, I don't remember the numbers. Forgive me. I'm sure some listeners are going to be offended. I remember Alex Gordon being the talk of the series, and then he got to Omaha, and it just didn't pan out for him. UCLA's guy was hot coming into the series, and then he kind of cooled off once he got to Omaha. Coastal Carolina played hot coming into Omaha, and they've kept it going, and that's one of the keys you hear those college baseball analysts talk about. It's you have to find a way to keep it going. You can't, all right, new series, new venue, let's switch. You can't switch a bunch of stuff up. You gotta do what got you here. And Coastal Carolina's done a very good job of that. And then, of course, on the other side, LSU, I mean, they got the horses. They're both teams, especially LSU. They made it through their brackets unscathed. They didn't lose. They didn't play any extra games that they had to. They've had, this is their second day off, so pretty much everybody's available. Everybody's gotten the rest that they need, including their ace, Cade Anderson. Last what would have been Saturday, 7 innings, 1 run against Arkansas. He struck out 7. I mean, he only allowed 3 hits. Like, had a great day on the mound, and he'll look to duplicate that. He has some are saying, I don't know this to be true. I'm not going to pretend like I am scouring MLB mock drafts, but some are saying Cade Anderson could go number 1. So Anderson's on full rest. There should be an excellent series. That Coastal Carolina bullpen is just stacked. Chase Shore, Zach Cowan, Jaden Newt, they don't allow a lot of runs. Do the Chanticleers. They have the second lowest ERA as a team. I think, they obviously come in with that big win streak and want to keep it going. They're hitters. They crowd the plate. They really make opposing pitchers work. So, like, you got to earn it if you're gonna get in there and contend with Coastal Carolina. They're gonna try and knock you off their game and play their game at the same time. Like, you're not gonna phase them, but they're gonna try and knock you off kilter a little bit. LSU has obviously managed to find the runs when they need them. The incredible comeback. What would that be? Wednesday night? Yeah, time is I barely know what day it is. So if I get that wrong, please excuse me. Coastal Carolina doesn't depend on the home run, which is a good thing to not depend on when you play baseball at Charles Schwab. Like, not a lot of home runs, although, again, what was it? Wednesday? Again, time, flat circle. Not a lot of balls going deep here at the Chuck Box this year. So, I mean, Coastal Carolina's only hit 66 of them all year. So they're going to get them on, get them over, get them in. And that is a great strategy in this ballpark. It benefits them immensely to play ball that way. Let's see other things before we get to the drama of it all. LSU, the home team in game 1, they'll be the road team in game 2, and a decisive game 3 on Monday if it is needed. I believe LSU would be the home team. These two met in a 2016 Super Regional, like not anything terribly, they're not super familiar with each other. They don't get in there and mix it up with each other all that often. But somebody did ask at today's press conference. Let me find it so I can get the quotes right. This quote comes from Corey Diaz, who reports for LSU baseball on the USA Today network. I want to get the source right. Coastal Carolina was asked what they like and admire about LSU. Whoa, what a question. After a lengthy pause, Coastal Carolina pitcher Jacob Morrison leaned in, smirked, and said, "Not much." So, okay. I like that. I know some of the things Coastal has done has rubbed some people the wrong way, but I like that attitude that they carry how they carry themselves with that sort of, no, you're not gonna get in here and call us the little guy. That you're not gonna get in here and call this David versus Goliath, because that's not what this is. We're a real program. We deserve to be here. We've won more games in a row than anyone's ever won. And, sometimes some people will say, well, that's just a hot streak. That's not that doesn't mean you're the best team in the country. But I like that they act like it. That's what you need, right? You need to get in there and go, bleep you. We're the best. We're the best. Their coach went in after the game on Wednesday, said, "I'm not satisfied yet. Job's not done. We're trying to win a national championship. We're not your cute story. We're not, oh, their jerseys are different color than everybody else's. That's cute." Like that. No, you're not going to do that to us. We're going to nip that right in the bud, right bleeping now. So I'm incredibly excited for this series. It's there's going to be a lot of Coastal Carolina literally walking into a lion's den tomorrow night, as you've given LSU baseball fans 48 hours to get here and party and try and watch their team win a national championship. Not calling them the underdog, not calling them David. Odds a little stacked against them, right? Some of those intangibles, right, stacked against them. Now, when the game starts and it's, between the chalk lines there, I think Coastal will be fine. I think they'll more than hold their own against LSU. I'm not ready to give you like a prediction or anything, but I think we're in for a really good one. There's good pitching, there's good hitting. We'll kind of see what we'll see how it unfolds. It's one of the fun things about baseball is it's not necessarily like a lot of other sports where okay, this team's going to try, their offensive strategy is X, Y, Z. Baseball's a little more random, for lack of a better term. Like I think we're going to get 3. I think we're going to get 3 good ones at that. There's some years where, Team A beats Team B 12-1 in game 1. Team B beats Team A 7-2 in game 2. I think we're going to get 3 good games in Omaha this weekend. These are 2 teams from the South in general. He points to a non-existent map behind him. The heat it's gonna be hot, but these 2 teams play in that most of the year. So I don't know how much of a factor that'll be. Maybe it shortens some of the pitchers out there, but I mean these guys are pros. They know it comes with the territory. You want to, quite frankly, you line everybody up and go, would you walk through hell for a national championship? Because you're gonna have to. It's hell out there right now, almost literally flames everywhere. It's that hot outside this weekend. But who in either bullpen, who in either clubhouse, who in either dugout wouldn't say, yes, coach, I will walk through hell to get that national championship trophy? And you'll see that on the field starting tomorrow. You can listen to the whole series right here on 1620 The Zone. So excited for it. So proud that we are the ones who get to bring it to you via the radio, the app, the Sirius XM. Like, we do that. Print the stickers of us pointing. We did that. And we are immensely proud to be the ones to get to deliver the College World Series finals to you. We'll step aside. We will see if Steve Sipple answers the phone. No is minus 115 right now. It's just a vibe. It's just a feeling right now. I have no previous knowledge about whether he will or won't answer the phone. It's a gut thing. So we'll see if Sipple answers the phone. And if he does, we'll talk to him. If he doesn't, you'll hear me fill the air awkwardly. Either way, stay tuned to the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh filling in today on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer show. No Connor Happer today. He's preparing for the CWS finals downtown today. Lots of press conferences going on, lots of things being said in the microphones that will be later tacked on to bulletin boards and dry erase boards and things of that nature. You can tell by the music that Steve Sipple did not answer the phone, and I was correct about the vibes. They were, in fact, not good. Went right to voicemail. That's okay. Sip's a busy guy. We'll have to find something to chat about, you and I, until then, though. So, these NBA finals, huh? Pretty wild. Thought they'd be a pretty short series, and now we're going to Game 7 of the NBA Finals for the first time since, 2016? Cavs-Warriors? That was a good one, right? Cavs-Warriors, that was a good series. They did that a number of times, the Cavs and the Warriors. Feels like they were always running into each other in that time. But wow, I was shocked when I heard that last night. Like, we'll get to how shocked I was that the Pacers and the Thunder have managed to drag this thing out to a 7th and deciding game on Sunday night. But I was shocked to hear that the NBA Finals hasn't gone to a 7th game since 2016. I mean, I feel like it happens rather routinely. But apparently it hasn't happened in 9 years. And Sunday night, it will happen again as the Pacers beat the Thunder 108-91. And quite frankly, it wasn't even that close. This game was over, quote unquote, at halftime, 36-17. The Pacers won the second quarter and just pulled away from the Thunder. Both teams sort of unloaded the bench. Tyrese Halliburton was a big question mark coming into the game. You know, he gutted out 23 minutes and gave his team 14 points. And on that home court in Indiana, that player giving his team that performance. Now, there were times, like, it ebbed and flowed. There were times where, he hasn't taken a shot in X amount of minutes, he hasn't scored in X amount of minutes, but just sort of the mentality that Pacers team has kind of shown us, that Tyrese doing that probably lifted the team. I mean, Obi Toppin had 20 points. Obi Toppin. The game was kind of a runaway, so you could see why, but 6 Pacers scored in double figures. I mean, 4 members of the Thunder did as well, but kind of had to spread the ball around, had to keep Oklahoma City guessing, and they got up. And not going to accuse anybody of anything, however, I feel like the Thunder at halftime saw the writing on the wall and said, let's give it a go in the second half, and realized pretty quick it wasn't going to happen. And they said, you know what? We'll see you at our joint. We got one more of these on tap, and we'll try and do it there. So they will meet Sunday night in a Game 7 to decide who walks away with the Larry O'Brien trophy. And I mean, I still don't really know what to think about this series. I mean, I had the show, I think it was ahead of Game 1, where I told you I didn't really know what to. I thought this was a weirdo finals, clearly a changing of the guard, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love a changing of the guard, but maybe it's too much new blood at once with the Thunder and the Pacers. Maybe it needs to be a new blood team, quote unquote, ripping the hearts out of the old guard for me to get interested in it. But it's a weird matchup, Thunder Pacers. It hits the ear wrong, and I don't know what it is about it. Neither team has won an NBA championship before, and before you tweet at me, the Thunder do not claim the titles of the Sonics. So both of these franchises looking for that first one. They're looking for that patch on the back of the jersey. One of them will have it next year, and I mean, I kind of thought the Pacers would fall on the sword last night and it would be over. I didn't think they'd get the game they got from Halliburton. Not that it was a great game, but he was out there. He was doing things, basketball things. Great analysis by me, by the way. And just on that court, that team, I mean, that was a moment. And I kind of thought they would fight the good fight, but ultimately fall last night. So I guess chalk me down as the millionth person in sports media to like, wow, I'm really impressed by the Indiana Pacers' heart. Like, how many times along this NBA playoffs have we thought, okay, this is it. Fun story. Thank you, Indiana Pacers. It's been fun. It's been real. Now it's your time to lay down and die. And they just haven't done it. I'm dubbing the Indiana Pacers the Michael Myers of the NBA. You cannot kill them. You cannot put them down. They're the Andre the Giant of the NBA. Okay, you can knock them down, but you cannot keep them down for 3 seconds to defeat them. Like, they just won't go away. They don't know they're not supposed to be doing this. They don't care. And that's fun to watch. It's fun to watch a team who it's a little like Coastal Carolina where no, we've worked to get here. Bleep you, Johnny come lately. Like we've earned this. We're going to beat this team that everyone says is, going to walk all over us in 4 or 5 games. There's no gentleman's sweep here. We're going to fight. We're going to force a game 7. Similar vibes. I mean, the Thunder aren't necessarily the power of the sport like LSU is in college baseball, but the Thunder, you heard 2 things all year about the Thunder is 1, they're statistically one of the most dominant teams of all time. I think they only played, forgive me, hoop heads, for getting this wrong. I think they only played 15 games that were decided by single digits in the regular season. Like, they were cracking skulls all year. They were beating people down all year. Like, the NBA media was like, hey, this is statistically one of the most dominant teams we've ever seen. And then they get to the finals and the talk is, well, I mean, is it 4 or 5 games? That's really the only question here. I don't even know why we play these games. The Thunder should just be handed the NBA title. SGA should just be handed the face of the league. And once again, the Indiana Pacers have, I don't want to say shut people up because there's always, hate to do this to you, audience, always going to be some loudmouths in the sports media landscape, but they're showing people that you can win a title on heart. Like, they just play together so well. They remind me of that Pistons team that, mowed down the all-star Lakers. That was, well, guys, is it going to be 4 games or 5 games? Like, thanks for showing up, Pistons. No, that Pistons team didn't really have like a quote unquote superstar, like an A-list superstar. And that's kind of how the Pacers are, but they had a lot of, they had a team of glue guys. They had a team of lunch pail guys who got in there, did the work, and the dominant team from the Western Conference just didn't know what to do with them. Now, here's the point where I say all of that and go, okay, Indiana, do it one more time. Like, do it in game 7. Like, not to Stugatz this, but like, okay, do it in game 7. Do it on the road. I know they've already won a road game in this series, but like, do it again. Like, I'm not betting you're going to do it again. After you've convinced me of all that, I'm still going to turn around and go, I think the Thunder probably have this in 7. Like, probably not the way they wanted to win it, but hey, they'll win it on home court. It'll be game 7. The NBA will get to tweet ratings of the NBA of the 2025 NBA Finals greater than the Boston Celtics winning a title last year, and they'll they'll get to spin the metrics and go, see, we told you this was a watchable finals, even though nobody's watched this finals. Nobody's talking about this finals. It's kind of been a weird finals if you really sit down and think about it. Pacers, Thunder, who's sitting down and getting amped for that? A lot of people in the have realized that playoff SGA is different than regular season SGA, and a lot of people weren't ready for that conversation of, oh, yeah, that game plays a little different in the playoffs, doesn't it? Yeah. But again, I still think they probably got this. Like, maybe I'll have some egg on my face on Monday, but I hate to do this to the Pacers, but do it again. Do it again. Maybe I'll be an idiot. I probably am an idiot. In fact, I know I'm an idiot, but in this specific instance, I am going to ask the Indiana Pacers to do it one more time. Wow me again. Bet you can't. And they'll respond with that yes, sir chant of theirs. I think John Bishop should start and work for the Indiana Pacers and just send them a bunch of clips of it going, yes, sir. I think it would work. I think they would use it. I think it'd be great. 12:43 here on the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh in for Connor today. We will round out hour number 3 of the Connor Happer Show. We'll do it together. I've gotten to close yet another internet tab. I'm down to the minimum of 4. Yes, that's the fewest that I can have and still produce this show properly. That's right. I'm producing and hosting. Who else could do that? Nobody. Nobody would be stupid enough to do both of those jobs. Just me. That's right. It's the Connor Happer Show. 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
$16.20 The Zone. It is the Connor Happer Show. Connor out today, back on Monday? Yeah, he would be doing the Monday show even if there was a baseball game. Monday show would be from the Omaha Baseball Village if we were doing a show, but he would be here for it. And I think he'd be thrilled. Producer Josh sitting in for Connor. Sipple didn't answer the phone in the last segment, which is fine. He's a busy man. I understand. I'm just explaining to the audience what happened. It forced me to subject you with NBA talk as John emails the show in the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Hi, John. I had to step away for a few minutes. Can you tell me what happened, Josh? This sounds like NBA talk. No one wants that. And to you, John, I would say that's Steve Sipple's fault. That's right. I didn't want to subject the audience to it, but I was forced to. Because I needed a topic, and that was the one I had in the holster for later. You'd probably be hearing it right now, in fact. But nevertheless, we go to the YouTube stream where many people on many sides agreeing with me about basketball. They're calling me a ball knower in certain areas of the internet. Captain, we're discussing SGA's game and how it's played in the playoffs. Hi, Captain. It plays a little different when it's the NBA Finals, especially a Game 7. Yes, SGA probably in private moments going, man, this is a lot different. Wasn't ready for that. Kevin in the YouTube chat. Hi, Kevin. All caps. Good job. Now, I'm going to take that to be a non-sarcastic good job and not a put down or a backhanded compliment. I'm going to take Kevin at his word that he thinks I am, in fact, doing a good job. Ty in the YouTube chat. Hi, Ty. Enjoying the Oddson show today. Yes. Which reminds me, Ty, thank you. I don't have a lot of graphics for the show today, but I do have that one. There we go. We'll change the background of it to the Josh Oddson show. When Connor comes back, he can have his show back up. But until then, I'm holding it hostage. Baymon in the YouTube chat. Hi, Baymon. Josh carrying the weight of 1620 again, per usual. How do your shoulders take the beating, Josh? Well, Baymon, it's simple. You stay ready. You don't have to get ready. I'm always ready for everyone else here to disappoint me and me to have to cover. No, I'm completely joking. I'm thrilled for Connor. If you've heard anyone else on this radio station, they're laughing at how supportive I am of Connor. I had to be in the press box because they play the game. The press box is air conditioned, okay? The baseball village is not. So we had some things to do the day. What day was Connor calling the game? Was that Monday? Someone help me out. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not important to the story. I told everybody with me, okay, we need to get our work done, and I need to be in that press box by the fourth inning. So we talked to the people inside the village. I'm getting my guys lunch. I'm getting vendors to come on and talk to us from the village. It's a lot of walking. It's a lot of conversations. But I had to be in that press box in the fourth inning to hear Connor's call of the College World. Everyone was laughing at me because they were like, "Wow, you're immensely supportive of your guy," and you're damn right. That's my guy. I love him. I'm supportive of him. Hell of an opportunity, and he's of course knocked it out of the ballpark all week. Calling games for Westwood One, being on the field. He'll be on the field for the championship series with Kevin Kugler and Scott Graham, who for some reason get to swoop in and call the final series like Connor Happer couldn't. He will someday. Sadly, that day is not Saturday, Sunday, or if necessary, Monday. But I thank you all for your kind words, even if they weren't meant to be kind. That's the basis of this segment. But we do have a Ross Dellinger tweet that we need to talk about. Let's see. I don't have time to talk about it. I've spent this entire segment bragging about Connor when I should be reading a Ross Dellinger tweet to you. Where he called this is probably overselling it a little bit, but it will make a great tease going into break from Ross Dellinger. In a landmark moment in college sports, something happened that is a landmark moment in college sports. We'll talk about it next on the Connor Happer Show. Love that guy. 1620, The Zone. Fourth and final hour of the Connor Happer Show this week. A quick reminder, we will be out and about at the Omaha Baseball Village tomorrow. Gary and Matt host a special edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I swear that's what it is. 3 o'clock is when we'll get underway there. We'll take you all the way up to pregame of LSU and Coastal Carolina at 5:40 on Saturday. And come out, say hi to us. It'll be hot, but we'll get through it together because we'll have shade, water, might have some. No, I think we're out of the fans. So we'll get through it together. We'll be there. But come out and say hi to Gary and Matt. And plus, if you come by and say hi to us, Gary will almost assuredly ask you to talk on the radio. And that's why we like the one show Gary gets to host from the Village each year, because it is off the rails. It's so off the rails that no one bothers to build rails for it. So we just kind of wind Gary up and let him go for 2.5 hours. And we'll do that tomorrow afternoon. I have received a tweet during the break from my wife. I'd like to believe that producer Josh gushes about me the same way he gushes about Connor Happer, but I don't think that's true. Well, have you ever called a College World Series game on the radio for Westwood One? No, you haven't. I'll be very supportive of you the day you do, but I will brag about the audience to my wife. No, I'll brag to the audience about my wife. There we go. That makes more sense. My wife took our child to the splash pad at the zoo today. That sounds awful and hot. So she's a saint forever and always for doing that one time. Now, she's done it other times before. She'll do it in the future again. But on this day, to do that activity, whoa. Big brass ones, honey. You got them. I teased a tweet during the commercial break that Ross Dellinger has said in a landmark moment in college sports. And then I stopped. And I said, to find out what this landmark moment is, you'll have to stay tuned. And I held the audience over into a different hour of the show because I'm an excellent host and producer. Really, it was just happenstance and it worked out that way. But Jim in O'Neill tweeted me and said, that last tease, profesh. This is why you're a national treasure. And I will say, that is the third time I've been called a national treasure. So you better watch out. I don't know what the prize is for being called a national treasure, but I'm getting there. Whatever the treasure is, it the Declaration of Independence? If I get called that enough, do I get entered into a pool to steal the Declaration of Independence? Because I would love that. But no, we have a Big Ten football story. A big, juicy summer Big Ten football story. In a landmark moment in college sports, the University of Wisconsin has filed a lawsuit against Miami for tampering and eventually poaching a college football player under contract, Xavier Lucas, per documents attained by Yahoo Sports. He goes on to add, Ross Dellinger does, the Big Ten Conference is supporting Wisconsin's decision to take legal action. The league tells Yahoo Sports in a statement that follows. I'll read it for you. I haven't read the story, but I can at least read the Big Ten statement because it's short. The Big Ten says in a statement, because they don't talk publicly ever, the Big Ten Conference is aware of the litigation recently filed by the University of Wisconsin-Madison against the University of Miami and is supportive of UW-Madison's position. As alleged, the University of Miami knowingly ignored contractual obligations and disregarded the principle of competitive equity that is fundamental to collegiate athletics. The Big Ten Conference believes that the University of Miami's actions are irreconcilable with the sustainable college sports framework and is supportive of UW-Madison's efforts to preserve it. Now, let's get this out of the way because I can already hear them in Miami. Why is it only rule breaking when we do it? Everybody does this. Why is legal action being taken when it happens to Miami? That's my Miami guy impression. What do you guys think? Oh, I'm sorry. There. That's a more accurate Miami interpretation. Well, Miami, here's the reason. You're the sloppiest at it. You just hand people cash, consequences be damned. The wallet guy. My wallet's missing. The wallet guy. Here, have a wallet. There's cash in the wallet. And a little bit of cocaine residue. I mean, yes, everybody does this. Everybody tampers. They tamper in every sports league. Yes. So in your coked up haze, yes, Miami, you are correct. Sorry. Your alleged cocaine haze. You are correct, Miami. Everybody does this. Why is it only an issue when Miami does it? Because you're the sloppiest at it. You're the worst at it. Like, gee, wonder where Carson Beck's going to go. That was probably more girlfriend related than anything, but nevertheless. I haven't read the story. I don't know the details. Seems pretty cut and dry, right? Like, guy said he was going to go to Wisconsin, sign the contract, ended up not going to Wisconsin. Like, yeah, this happens dozens of times every portal cycle. How many portal cycles are there? I honestly don't know, nor do I care. So I'm sure they'll talk about this in the afternoon show. At least I hope they will, because I guess it's interesting. I don't know. It feels like yet another tipping of the scales towards the side of the NCAA just can't run college sports effectively anymore. Like that's what this story screams to me. It doesn't scream Miami's doing something wrong. It doesn't scream sour grapes from Wisconsin for losing a recruiting battle. Like it doesn't scream any of that to me. The thing that like a beacon, like a siren song screams to me is the NCAA cannot control college sports anymore. They're the ones who have lost institutional control. We heard that phrase, for decades upon decades of the NCAA just lopped that on to certain programs like, hey, you've lost institutional control, so we're going to punish you. And I'm lopping that accusation on them. You have lost institutional control, NCAA. You're the ones that can't control this thing anymore. It's gotten away. There's no way to reel it in unless somebody wants to be the one to go through the immense amount of work it would take to go through the details and the rigmarole of massive overhaul. And I think it's kind of moving too fast for that. So, we'll just do it piece by piece. We'll get the NIL regulations out there, and then we'll get the portal regulations out there the next year. And then we'll do it, and then we'll get this, and then we'll get, then you're kind of remodeling Memorial Stadium, right? Chunk by chunk by chunk. And you're constantly going around the stadium, fixing things that you need to fix. And there's a lot of things you need to fix. So it's going to take a while, and you'll move to the next section, and you'll move to the next section. But it never really works, does it? Like, sure, you can keep up the facade, but man, it's just the wild, wild west out there. And I know it sounds like old man screaming into clouds. I want these guys to be able to move to a better situation if they see one, but just one time a year. It doesn't need to be 3-4 times a year, right? Like, I understand there's academic, school calendar reasons it's done that way, but like, could we have some common sense in the NCAA? I know, stupid question, but just, is no one in that institution going to step up and go, I'll be the one to fix this? Or to like, hey, anonymously, Ross, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we're ever going to be able to do. It's open season. Oh, note to self, don't do that voice anymore. Whew. 10 days at the Omaha Baseball Village and then doing that voice. Not good. I'll have to do allegedly coked up Miami guy. Again, that's the name of the character. If you're scrolling looking to sue me, the name of that character was allegedly coked up Miami guy, okay? To which many people are commenting that they liked my allegedly coked up Miami character. Ty writes in on YouTube. Hi, Ty. Accurate. Kevin. Hi, Kevin. That was great. Baymon, a little tougher of a critic, and I appreciate that. I don't want blind praise. I want to work for it. Baymon. Hi, Baymon. It is solid. It's no 1940s guy, though. See, I feel like I got a popcorn kernel in the back of my throat. I don't care for it. Tough to do a radio show like that. Now, normally, there'd be another person here. If it was any other show, there'd be another person here, and I could take a drink of water, or I could point to that person as if to say, now you talk. Now it's your turn to talk. But for some reason, this show can't have anything, so I have to do everything. That is what's happening here. So, Ross Dellinger feels like this is a landmark moment in college sports. I don't know about that, Ross. I mean, sure. I guess if, I don't know, insert 2 NBA teams here. If one of them, I understand legally they couldn't because they couldn't sue each other for tampering. But, like, it's a tampering lawsuit. We sort of know the framework of tampering, right? We know what happened here. I don't know that this is the landmark moment you think it is, Ross, but Ross has got to get his clicks. I actually don't begrudge him for reporting the news and trying to get clicks off of it. Like, I just wanted to do the bit and say clicks because it's fun. Sorry, I was reading. Again, an instance where I could have pointed to another human being and said, okay, now you talk while I read this thing. So cat's out of the bag. I will tell you what I read and you'll go, that wasn't worth stopping the show for, Josh. Oregon. That's right. Another Big Ten football story. We love talking about Big Ten football here on 1620 The Zone. Oregon, Big Ten school, lands the number 1 safety in the 2026 class. Jet Washington has committed to Oregon over Alabama and USC, also a Big Ten school, last night. Why is it still in the top? Whatever. Washington, the 6'5", 210 defender from Las Vegas, is the nation's number 22 overall prospect, the top-ranked 4-star recruit. Trails only 5-star tight end. Kendra Harrison is the highest rated of the Ducks' 6 top 300 pledges in the current cycle. They're not panicking about their 2026 recruiting class over there in Eugene. They like their 2026 recruiting class. Meanwhile, in Lincoln, boy, tough hang. For now, it can get better. But for now, yikes. Washington enters the fall as a third-year starter at Las Vegas powerhouse. I swear it's going somewhere. Bishop Gorman, where he logged 38 tackles and 5 picks during his junior season. The nephew of late Lakers legend Kobe Bryant. Washington helped lead Bishop Gorman to a second consecutive Nevada Class 5A state basketball title earlier this year. So Kobe Bryant's nephew committed to Oregon. Wow, there's a lot more after that ad. How? Good job, you guys. You're writing articles that are very long for stories that don't need to be long. Kobe Bryant's nephew committed to Oregon. That's to play football, I'm assuming. So that's the story. That's the Big Ten roundup, I guess. Yeah, I'll frame it that way. So it seems like I intentionally did it the whole time. We'll come back. We got one more segment in the Happer, and then we'll tell you what to watch this weekend. We'll update the poll questions we had during the morning crossover. Some ones went final yesterday as well during the show today. A lot to do, little time, so we'll step aside so we can get it all in. It's the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh in today on 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
$16.20 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh in for Connor today. So look, between you and me, sneaky good sports weekend? Maybe not even sneaky. I think we got a real good sports weekend ahead of us. We got Game 7 of the NBA Finals on Sunday night. You would think both teams would come to play and neither team would take their foot off the accelerator. You know the Indiana Pacers don't do that. They don't do that thing that NBA teams do where they get down 18 points and just say, you know what? Not going to happen tonight. They tend to play all 4 quarters, which has made this series very interesting. Again, I still think Oklahoma City's going to get it done. Home court. They are the better team. I'm pretty sure. I've been told that a lot over the last week. So I guess that's my prediction there. We have the College World Series Finals beginning Saturday night, 6 o'clock, right here on 1620 The Zone. Many dozens of Westwood One affiliates, Sirius XM as well. You can hear Kevin Kugler, Scott Graham, and Connor Happer on the field for the festivities between Coastal Carolina and LSU. I told you I think we're going to get 3 games here. I think we're going to get 3 very tight, entertaining games. I think it's going to be, one mistake could cost a team a game here in these scenarios. You have, SEC networks down here. Like, obviously ESPN's covering the event. It'll be on ABC Sunday, but it's every year this thing just gets just a tick bigger. And then, every 5 years you kind of look at the macro and you go, oh my gosh, this event is huge. And that's what's happening here. Hard to pick against LSU and their pedigree here in this 3-game series. So I think I'm going to go LSU in 3. I reserve the right to flip-flop on that. I don't know. I think it's that razor thin a margin, but we'll do the what to watch thing. We'll tell you where to find these games throughout the weekend. One thing, lately the Connor Happer Show has gone on a crusade to make you a better consumer of sports media. So I wanted to tip you off to something that's happening this weekend. And I think the savvy ones know, but there are some people that don't. But I'd like to educate them about this. You're going to see a lot of ads for something called Fanatics Fest in New York City this weekend. It is a convention for fanatics, like the apparel provider Fanatics. You remember they messed up the Major League Baseball jerseys. They do the hockey jerseys that everyone hates. It's a terrible company, but they've grown themselves to be the biggest. And here's why. Fanatics Fest is like a 3-day festival of hey, you can come and see hey, Tom Brady's going to be here. LeBron James is going to be here. It's like a sports Comic-Con. If you pay the money, you can get a photo with Tom Brady. If you pay the money, LeBron James will take a selfie with you. You go to Comic-Con and it's hey, Patrick Stewart's going to be here. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be here. This is kind of Comic-Con for sports, but there's a reason. And that reason is the head of Fanatics is a man by the name of Michael Rubin. That's right. Did I just Google it? Yes, of course I did. Michael Rubin throws a Super Bowl party each and every year. It's called the White Party. It's the most coveted party invite of the year, not just in sports, but like, think of the best parties of the year, like the Vanity Fair Oscars party, Michael Rubin's Super Bowl white party. Like, you have to wear white and they go and they watch the Super Bowl. I'm sure there's a lot of actual Super Bowl watching going on at that party. No, not a lick. But First Take was at Fanatics Fest today because Stephen A. Smith wants to go to the white party. Stephen A. Smith wants to go to the Super Bowl party. Molly wants to go to the Everybody wants to go to this party. I don't know if it's a good party or not. I imagine my character that I invented from the last segment attends this Super Bowl white party. White party being the key word there. But that's why this is such a big deal. Because if I'm a tiny little producer in Poughkeepsie. If I talk about Michael Rubin's Super Bowl white party and how great, and if I send all my guys to the Super Bowl, if I send all my guys to Fanatics Fest and talk about how great Fanatics Fest is, maybe I'll get an invite to the white party. You won't, but yeah, good on you for trying. But Fanatics has weaseled their way into to being the apparel provider for so many companies. They do the jerseys for NHL. They outsourced the MLB jerseys and then had to fix it, but it wasn't their fault. Totally wasn't their fault, even though they messed up the hockey jerseys. They do all the shirts for WWE, and I'm sure they have their hands in many other organizations, but that's how they can get John Cena to come to Fanatics Fest this weekend. That's how they can get Tom Brady to come to Fanatics Fest, because there's some quid pro quo going on, and Hannibal Lecter wore all white once too, So I want to make you, Connor Happer Show, we want to make you a better media consumer. You're going to hear about it a lot this weekend, and that's what it is. It's crap is what it is. And just want to get in front of that before you start thinking, well, maybe I need to go to Fanatics Fest. Maybe I need to get a shirt from Fanatics. You don't need to get a shirt from Fanatics. You can get a shirt from somebody who knows what they're doing. A lot of vendors at the Omaha Baseball Village know what they're doing. But again, the Connor Happer Show, we're here to make you better. We will close this puppy down. We'll take a break. A lot of poll questions from the crossover to update. Some staggering results from yesterday's poll questions that went final. Yeah, we updated them yesterday, but I do have a take or two I'd like to unveil before we get out of here for the weekend. We'll tell you what to watch, of course. A lot to do. We only got one segment to do it, so I better shut the heck up and get to it, okay? It's coming up next. Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
You made me do this. This is on you, producer Josh.
The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, We take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Final segment of the week here on the Connor Happer Show. Connor's back on Monday. We don't know where we'll be doing the show from, but Connor and I will be together again. Reunited, and it feels so good. Monday. Now, that'd be a funny bit if I did a song parody of Reunited and It Feels So Good, but I changed it to Reunited and It Feels So Good. A better producer would be on that. I won't be doing that this weekend. I'll be at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll tell you when and where in a little bit. But first, we got to update those poll questions. Some of them went final during the show, including one that incredibly relevant to our last conversations about Michael Rubin and the University of Miami. Have you heard of Super Coke? 88% of the audience said no. Getting to today's poll questions. Yeah, it was just an excuse to make a Coke joke. Coke joke. Hashtag Coke joke. Today's poll. I'm an idiot. Poll questions today from the morning crossover. Does everyone need a mooch in their life? Almost assuredly not. Why would I want a mooch in my life? I like helping people, but I don't want a mooch in my life. 78% of the audience said no, of course not. Why would I want a mooch in my life? Now, we asked another mooching poll question. Is mooching the American way? Careful, producer Josh. Do not wade into those waters. I will simply tell you, 54% of the audience said yes, mooching is the American way. I have no opinion on that. I don't have an opinion. Next poll question. Did white people need a Bad Boys? Bad Boys, the ever-popular film franchise starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Did white people need their version of that? 77% of the audience said no. Could take audience. Matt McMaster alleged that Mission Impossible is a white version of Bad Boys, which made us ask the poll question, is Mission Impossible a white version of Bad Boys? I'm going to say no. I think there's probably a better comp. I can't think of it right now. I think somebody said The Other Guys was a white version of Bad Boys, which We do like the movie The Other Guys around here, so thank you for knowing the show. 70% of the audience said no. Those are the poll questions. Producer Josh, what are we watching this weekend? Thank you, host Josh. We are watching the NBA Finals, Game 7, Sunday night, 7 o'clock on ABC. Obviously, the series is tied at 3. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the home team. WNBA this weekend. Ion has a doubleheader tonight. Saturday on ABC at noon. That's tomorrow. The Phoenix Mercury take on the Chicago Sky. 7 o'clock on NBA TV. LA is in the Great White North to take on the Minnesota Lynx. Sunday, let's see. Let's decipher this. 2 o'clock on ESPN. The Indiana Fever are in Vegas to take on the Aces. Major League Baseball on your TV this weekend. It's Friday. The Cubs are the home team, so they're playing at 1:20. That's right now. It's on MLB Network. I don't have the TV over there. I have the TV on SportsCenter because I haven't looked at it for the last 4 hours. 6 o'clock tonight, the Yankees host the Orioles. Max Fried on the bump for the Yankees. Mets coming off of getting swept by the Atlanta Braves. That's right. They're in Philly to take on the Phillies at 6:15 on Apple. The Royals are way out west to take on the Padres. That'll also be on Apple TV and 1180 The Zone. Of course, Dodgers host the Nationals at 9 o'clock. Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers. They will hope to not clear the benches tonight against the lowly Nationals, but it will be on MLB Network at 9 o'clock. Tigers Rays, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning on MLB Network. FS1 has Rangers Pirates, former College World Series star Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Rangers in that one. Let's see. I better look at my map here before I tell you. I got to go to the 506 here to tell you what's on Big Fox tomorrow night. It will be Royals Padres, 6:15 start on Big Fox. Ooh, good pitching matchup there too. Noah Cameron versus Dylan Cease. Big Fox Royals Padres. Your Roku game of the week, Orioles Yankees, 10:35 Sunday morning on Roku, and Sunday Night Baseball in Philly for Mets Phillies. And of course, the College World Series Finals begins in earnest tomorrow right here in Omaha, Nebraska, LSU, Coastal Carolina. The game is on TV at 6 o'clock on ESPN. However, the better broadcast is right here on 1620 The Zone. 5:40 pregame with Kevin Kugler, Scott Graham, and our own Connor Happer. Sunday, ABC, 1:30 is when the game will get rolling there. And then if necessary, we'll be down at the ballpark on Monday. Non-sports things you can watch on your TV. Let's see. Frozen, the hit Broadway musical. That's the title of it. Yeah, I don't know if you can put hit in the title and okay, we said it's a hit, so it's a hit. But either way, stream the magic and music of the hit animated film's theatrical production, all from the comfort of your home. Maybe your child has made you watch Frozen 7,000 times and you'd like it just to be even the slightest bit different. This would be that opportunity, parents. I'm sorry, it is my duty to inform you that Max is streaming the Minecraft movie now. 4 misfits are pulled through a mysterious portal into a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. Maybe don't let your children find out about that one, but it is available. I'm sorry, they will be yelling chicken jockey at you all weekend long. Tonight on NBC at 7 o'clock, Jaws, the thriller's 50th anniversary is today. So they're going to throw that thing on NBC and have a special introduction from Steven Spielberg. Also, if you miss it, it is streaming on Peacock. It's Michael Severe's favorite movie. I think he's out of town, or else I would have called him and said, hey, why don't we talk about Jaws for 20, 30 minutes? Because he can just wind him up and let him go. He can talk about Jaws. That's his favorite movie, and it is turning 50 years old today. For myself, producer Josh Odson, for the producer of today's show, producer Josh Odson, For our Westwood One Network coordinating producer, Josh Odson, I'm Josh Odson. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you at the Village tomorrow. Our show with Gary and Matt starts at 3 o'clock. Come on down, say hi to us, drink plenty of water. I know it's a Saturday. You want to hit it hard. Take the advice from the 40-year-old. Mix in a water every now and then. You'll thank me later. You can see us. Gary will talk to everybody who walks by at the booth tomorrow. So please, it's going to be fun. We love doing it. We'll have the CEO of Chinook Seedery on to talk about the Golden Spikes Award. Those nominees, those finalists for the Golden Spikes Award will be at the Chinook booth at the Omaha Baseball Village at 10 o'clock. They'll be signing autographs. So what a great opportunity to stand in line, shake some hands, get some autographs of some guys who, I mean, if you look at the sport the last few years, it's a quick turnaround from College World Series to the bigs. I mean, in a year from now, one of those three guys could absolutely be a big league ball player, and you can get their autograph tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And let me tell you this before we go. Here's the play, okay? Here's the personal recommendation from Josh Odson. You go down to the Omaha Baseball Village about 10. You probably want to get in line before 10 o'clock, but you know. Get the autograph. Tell your kid, hey, don't touch this thing. This is a real deal autograph. This isn't like, hey, Sonic the Hedgehog was at the grocery store today and he signed a trading card. No, this is like real deal autograph. You get your autographs. You mosey on over, not too far away. There's a food truck, Greek to me. You get yourself a nice gyro. You get the, I believe it's the deluxe. It has the tzatziki sauce on there. That's nice. It's going to be cooling. It's going to be a refreshing lunch. And then you pop on over. You say hi to your friends, Gary and Matt and producer Josh at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll have, I don't know what we'll have, but we got something we'll throw at you. Gary will ask you a question on the radio, and then you watch the game. You watch LSU. You watch Coastal Carolina. That's a fun day, okay? You're drinking several waters throughout that whole experience, and it's going to be a great day for you and your family. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will be back here at some place, undisclosed location, on Monday. Connor Happer and producer Josh Odson. The crossover is coming up next.